Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 206 of your Take Two podcast. And no, you're not having delusions, but you are watching us on YouTube, possibly, and seeing our beautiful smiley faces. And guess what? It's going to be a shitty show today. So, Brian, how are you?
You took my freaking joke, man.
You already spent them all on Twitter, so I figured it was my turn to.
Yes, I did.
Apologies. With some shitty jokes.
Apologies to anyone who was following our Twitter during the Emmys. I fully took that over. Didn't even give Tony a chance to tweet. Those were all from me. If you guys couldn't tell, my love for your Schitt's Creek, and we will discuss Schitt's Creek a lot later in our Emmys review section. That'll be during the Hollywood News. We have Devil All the Time, Away, Challenger, and a first take look at Ratched. That is out right now. We hope you guys enjoy those. We got a whole bunch of other Hollywood news stuff to discuss, like some actual hot topic-y things, some good casting, trailers, and I got to chat with another actress this week, Miss Georgina Castle. We'll have little bits and pieces of that interview later on in the show, and then the full interview itself will be over on YouTube, but we will chat about that later. Tone, what up?
What's going on? I'm excited. There's a lot to talk about. There is rumors galore this weekend that I'm interested to see what your thoughts are on those. There's a lot in the going forward section, I think, because we're kind of slowly limping our way into the fall TV season, for what that's worth. So there's a lot of stuff in going forward, like you said, trailers, all that stuff. I actually have some other fun stuff I want to get into today. Okay. I just put it up on Instagram and the Universe page this morning, but it's two important people in my life's birthday, and that's Bill Murray turning 70 and Stephen King turning 73. So hugely influential people in my life. I put it up on the Universe page. Hopefully you guys see it now. Go interact with it and just tell us what your favorites are from either of those actors. You know, well, Stephen King's not an author, but either of their movies that have come from their work. And tell us what your favorite is. I posted on another site, my hot take, I think, might be my favorite Bill Murray performance is Rushmore.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
The more I sat and thought about it, I was like, I think that was kind of like a turning point in his career. Where before that he was just a strictly comedy guy, and I think it kind of opened up a whole new avenue for him where he was a little more, deadpan or more serious, and he could get into some drama work a little bit, but still be funny. And I think that was a huge turning point for him. So I really like his work in Rushmore. What about you?
Cool. I'll take the low hanging fruit and go with Groundhog Day. I love that movie, and I'm just gonna stick with it. Like I said, it's kind of an easier one to take. I want to stay away from Ghostbusters. I don't want to not say Ghostbusters. You got Stay Puft Marshmallow Man right behind you, over your little shoulder there. Kind of like your guardian angel, Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Yeah. What about the old Stephen King? I know you're not big on the spooky stuff, but what's your are you gonna take the easy one on this one too and go Shawshank?
No. Well, you know what? No, because the first one that popped in was It. I actually really liked that movie. The newer one, the original of the newer one, part one of the rebooted. So I actually really enjoyed that. So that was the first one that popped in. Shawshank is pretty low hanging though.
It is. It is for you, especially. I would probably go Shining, just because I've always loved The Shining. I know he doesn't like that version of it, so that's kind of a hot take in and of itself.
Valid.
But just love The Shining. I love Jack's performance, and I love Dr. Sleep that we got from that same source material. So that's a huge one for me. So that's where I would go. And then also we had a couple other movie anniversaries this week. Almost Famous turned 20. Can you believe that?
Almost Famous 20.
Almost Famous is 20. Usual Suspects and Seven both came out 25 years ago this week. Like, that's a huge week at the box office right there.
That's a huge week for one actor.
Yeah.
His name we cannot say.
It is, though. And then also 30 years ago, Goodfellas, the Martin Scorsese classic. What do you think about that?
Very cool. Wow, 30. Wow. That's awesome. Man, that's crazy. Almost Famous 20. It's all happening. I don't know why that doesn't seem that long ago. Goodfellas seems 30. That's, we were younger. Obviously.
Yeah, we just talked about recently about Sam Jackson being like one of his first kind of small roles in that movie too. Like, it's kind of funny to think that's been that long.
We might have to do some research.
20 years.
Let's do some research. I mean, Spacey to have both those films the same weekend. Who's had a better weekend? As far as like
2 movies in a weekend? Yeah, that doesn't happen often.
Wasn't Brolin in something else when Infinity War came out? I don't know why Brolin's name's popping in my head. I might have to look into that. That might be pretty wild. Who's had a better opening weekend than having Seven and Usual Suspects both drop the same weekend?
Yeah, but I'll tell you what. I'm sure Usual Suspects probably wasn't a big hit. It was kind of a small indie movie.
Valid point. That's a valid point.
Probably. Yeah. I think that one picked up more like cult classic status after the fact. So.
True. Very true.
but still, huge movies when we look back, especially on our generation and people of our age. We both, we love both those movies equally. So, but yeah, I just thought that was kind of fun to focus on some birthdays and anniversaries off the top.
Very cool.
Otherwise, ready to get into the regular show as always.
Let's do it, folks. You're listening to episode 206 right now. Don't forget, in your feed right now, there is a Patreon app that just dropped last week-ish. That's our favorite movie vehicles. Go check that out. You have to be a Patreon subscriber, as low as $1 a month, all the way up to whatever. Create your own level. We're at right now type status at this point, but up to $10. There is a $15 level, and we owe some people some Patreon stuff. We're working on that. But guys, you can join. Ryan, Lisa, Shy, Chris, Katz, Craig, Roy, Vaughn, Francis, and Kevin. You guys are all beautiful people. Thank you for joining our Patreon. There's your shout out for this week. And of course, we have a new spotlight. It's in your feed right now. All about Mr. Ridley Scott. Excuse me. I take that back. It's all about Sir Ridley Scott. Sir Ridley Scott. And that was a fun one.
There seemed to be a good response too so far from that. And I think we recorded a little longer than maybe we thought and got a little in depth on his work. And I think he's kind of, like I said on the show, he's divisive. I think some people just kind of write him off, but I think he's a really talented director and deserves the recognition.
Yeah, I mean, when you just go down the list, you're just like, holy crap, he did all those. Like, all those films are in my top 10. All of those films are in my, I didn't realize he owns like 4 of my top 25 favorite films ever. And I think a lot of people might feel that way. You might not realize. So check out our episode now. But let's rock and roll with episode 206.
Get on the poll. Let's do it.
Hey, can I tell you?
All
right, hang on.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
No.
You and I talked. This is pulling back some curtain here, folks. You and I talked. There is a podcast devoted to stripper stories out there. I think it's called the Stripper Story Podcast.
Yes.
And so we joked about, hey, maybe we should get them to do our intro to the poll results. Kind of like a funny little, the poll, stripper, whatever. I listened to a couple of the reps. I couldn't get through them.
Oh, really? Oh, that's a shame. Are they
the
like
audio
super
was
dirty or what?
Yes. Yeah, it's just like a lot of run. The audio was good. The hosts were good. They were fine, but I was just like, I don't need to listen to these stripper stories. I don't know why. It just wasn't. Maybe give it a whirl. See if we can talk me out of it.
Hey, yeah. Maybe we could just get them to do a promo. I mean, it would be a little promo for them every week. All right, anyways, let's get into the poll for this week, stripper stories or not. I just asked everybody, what's your weekend watch plans? It was kind of a busy weekend with a few different releases, different places. Of course, Devil All the Time on Netflix, which we're going to talk about in a few minutes. The Emmys, or the Pandemies, as they ended up being called. We'll talk about that later as well. Antebellum, which came to PVOD, and Ratched, which was the kind of big release on Netflix, besides the big series release, I guess, on Netflix for the weekend. So the winner was Devil All the Time, though. Almost half of the votes came for that. 42% of the people were looking forward to that one on Twitter. Antebellum actually came in second, which I was surprised by. With it being PVOD, $20 rental, I'm surprised that many people were excited to see that this weekend. I personally failed the show and ran out of time. I did want to watch that this weekend. Did not get a chance. Hopefully for next week's episode, I can catch up with it and give you my thoughts on that. But that did come in second, and then Ratched third, and Emmys last place. So a lot of people were not looking forward to the Emmys, especially with it being all virtual people's houses and stuff. I think that maybe even kept more people away than usual, in my opinion.
The ratings reflect.
And then we had a couple other. Oh yeah, see, I haven't seen that yet, so I look forward to you reporting that to me. And then on Instagram, we had a couple other little unique shout-outs, if you will. Shy, still just on that boys train. Excited about the boys every weekend, getting new episodes, so good. He's checking out the boys. I personally fell behind. I saw, the first 3 they dropped, and then I haven't watched the last 2 yet. I'm kind of letting them build, and I'm going to do little mini binges, I think.
Mm-hmm. One back, yeah.
Yeah. Chris shouted out Umbrella Academy and that he was going to finally catch up with Tenet. So hopefully he did catch up with Tenet. I'm interested to hear his thoughts there.
Yeah.
And if he jives with our review. And then Katz said that he was watching a little show from England called The Office. He wasn't sure if we'd heard of that. So yeah, good for him.
Interesting.
But that was the weekend watch poll. And I don't know if he meant the actual British Office, because I do like the British Office. It's a really good show.
Yeah. I think he was making that joke of like, hey, have you ever heard of this show when it's like a super popular thing? But either way, you're right. Yeah, he is a comedian in his own right. But or maybe he generally was going to watch the British version of it, which I know a lot of Americans haven't even watched, or some don't even know that that's a thing, that's where it came from.
Yeah. No, it's good though. And so that was it. That was the weekend poll, weekend watch. Thanks as always for participating. We put it up on all of our socials, so please go and interact. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and let us know what your thoughts are every week on Thursday nights. That poll hits.
Okay, so more hot topicy stuff this week coming out with box office. Numbers were getting released. How much money were and were not films making? Tone, talk to me. What kind
All
of money
right.
were we looking at?
Well, I'm almost ready to just cut this segment again
Okay, it's
because
out
it's
again.
becoming sad to talk about. So, Tenet made another 4.7 million this weekend, which is not great. That stands at 36.1 for the U.S. However, it did cross 250 worldwide. So it is slowly inching, its numbers up. But I still don't see them hitting that 450. I just don't
Mm,
see it.
yeah.
Maybe once, California, New York start to open up and you'll get a big weekend out of it here in the US, like a big reboundy kind of weekend, maybe. But without California, or New York, I just think those markets are really what's hurting this US release of that movie. And we talked about it last week, moving release dates of other stuff because of how Tenet has performed. So
Yeah.
it's almost bad to talk about anything else that was released as well. New Mutants was still hanging in there at number 2, 1.6 million. It's a 17.7 overall, which honestly, I don't think they spent that much on that movie. So I think they should be happy with that they even made anything.
Yeah.
For as much as this movie became a joke and was kind of poorly received and bashed by critics, I'm surprised it's still hanging in there every week at like number 2 and making some money. So people are somewhat starved for content, and we'll just see whatever is out there.
I have a chance to see it
Um,
tomorrow in the theaters. I was
ooh,
checking.
okay.
There's a time slot tomorrow, Wednesday, that I could make, and I was looking for seats or whatever. The entire theater's empty. I have my pick of the seats. So
Nice.
should I go see it? What do you think? Yay, nay?
Hey, if you feel like giving us a report back, go for it. I personally am going to wait. I think I'd
Mm.
rather cut my toenails tomorrow than go see that. So I'm going to wait on that one. Number 3 for the week was the only new release really of the week, and that was Infidel, starring Jim Caviezel. And this is one of those, I think it's like a religious themed kind of movie. I want
Yeah.
to say it was Dinesh D'Souza, whatever, produced it, and he's political, his stuff that he puts out. So, but that made 1.5 million. It was in 1,700 theaters, so not quite as much as your Tenet and your New Mutants. They've all been playing in, I think, like 2,800 theaters. So Infidel didn't quite get as large of a release, but not bad for third place. Fourth place, Unhinged, 1.3 million. It did cross 15. It's at 15.7 domestic. So that's good. Good on them. The
Lovely.
savior of the cinema there, Russell Crowe. And then number 5 was SpongeBob, 210,000 only, but that's at 260 theaters only. So, and like we said, that's not even US, that's only Canada, and it has made 4.24 million. So good on them. I still don't understand why they didn't just release it in the US as well once stuff started opening back up, but maybe they don't think that the market is there for kids movies yet for families to go out.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, and I lied. I'm sorry. There was another new release in the top 10 that was number 8, and that's The Secrets We Keep. It only made 90,000, and that was only in 470 theaters, so kind of a smaller release. Ryan Altieri, I forgot to shout out in our weekend poll. He reached out and said that he watched that this weekend, and
Ah.
it was a snoozer. So
Aha.
yeah. So yeah, that was the all the new releases for the box office. I will mention one thing I saw After We Collided, which is the second movie in a series, kind of like these young romance novels. They've
Hmm.
kind of picked up a little bit of following and done well. The first movie did well. They released it overseas in 2 weekends in Europe. It's already made 21 million. So it's
Okay.
doing almost as good as Tenet is doing here, just in
Yeah.
just in
Yeah.
Europe. And
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
slated to come out here, I think, the end of October, in like another couple weeks. So who knows? Maybe that movie will end up, lighting some money up on the box office for us. But right now, it's very anemic, for lack of a better word.
I think Russell Crowe, the savior of the box office. Like, I think that's the studios what they're saying to people. Like, are you not entertained?
Yeah.
Like,
Hey,
come see
there
our
you go.
movies.
Yeah.
We will talk a little Jim Caviezel religious movie stuff in our Hollywood news section later too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Passion of the Christ Part 2.
Okay,
Passionless. I don't know.
that's it.
Is that what it is?
That's actually the news. Yeah.
That's actually official.
According to him, Passion of the Christ Part 2 is happening.
Oh, Jesus.
What the
Okay,
f
I
is
was
it about?
joking.
I wish they
was
were joking.
Wow, is it just him on the cross, like just talking, like to the camera? Like, I bet you wondered how I was going to get out of this one, like breaking the fourth wall.
Oh, I don't know, man. I'm not sure. I clicked all over the headlines too because I wanted to read into it. Like, what would this movie be about? I mean, I don't know. Okay, let's move along. Let's move along from the box office. We're all done. Now we're going to jump into our reviews. And leading things off was the big one of the weekend, and that is The Devil All the Time.
Yeah, definitely the big one of the weekend because this was the winner of the poll, as well as I think I have the most to say about this, the most notes that I took on this. I think you just watched this yesterday, correct?
Yeah, and I almost didn't because we were into the Emmys. Okay. And I told the wife, I was like, babe, we this movie's over 2 hours long. We have to stop watching the Emmys and push play. Yeah. So we did. We just watched it last night.
Okay. So here's the thing with Devil All the Time. For me personally, I watched it like almost a week ago now, and I feel like I needed to sit on it and let it breathe. And then a couple days later, I kind of adjusted my rating on it as well. My initial thoughts on it, I enjoyed my time with it. It's a little long, but in for this kind of story, this like Southern Gothic tale. And, the performances are pretty good for Pattinson and Tom Holland. I think Tom Holland, this is a really big coming out for him, where it's mature. It's a mature performance for him, that we haven't really seen besides, Spider-Man, whatever. Like, wow. I was glad to see him do something different. So I was happy with that. And like I said in my intro there, the delusions, I love Pattinson chewing up the scenery for the couple scenes he gets in the movie. He's great. Mm-hmm. But that being said, overall, it's kind of a rough watch, man. It's very brutal, high body count, which I didn't expect from the trailer. And it's a depressing movie. It's a depressing movie. It does not leave you happy. Like I said, a little too long. There's definitely stuff I could cut out of here. And I think that's where I sit on this movie. I ended up falling. I initially went like 3.5 out of 5. I kind of dropped it to a 3 because I just think there's a better movie to be had here. And maybe they needed to edit it or whatever more. And I think it was just trying too hard to stay true to being the novel. And if anything, it made me want to read the novel more than watch the movie, because I thought it was an interesting story overall and good performances, but just too long, man. What about you? How did it sit for you?
I started at a 5 because any story that has a town called Knockemstiff.
Yeah, which is a real town. This is real town.
That's awesome. I felt like, so the towns, I guess I'll start there. The towns that had, it felt like this little section was almost like a Bermuda Triangle of shit that happens in this section, like in between these. Why are these so connected? And maybe it's because this area just has this pull, this, weird thing that's going on. I think I'm at like a 3. And now I'm worried that if I sit on it for a couple of days, I'll go down to a 2.5 because I don't want to, because Pattinson was great. My wife very much, she was like, all right, I really, really, really want to watch it because I want to buy in. She's seen nothing but Twilight. So she's one of these folks. Okay. And there's many of you folks out there whom that's it. That's all you've seen of Pattinson. And we beg you, go watch more stuff, i.e. Tenet, Lighthouse, and now this, to then convince yourself, yeah, I will trust him as the Batman. That's the route she was going there. And she agrees. She was like, wow, okay, I did not realize his range, and give him props for that. Again, Holland, you're right. This is his first adult film. Like, this is his first where it's like, okay, he's not just Spider-Man. He's not just doing voiceover work for animated stuff. Mm-hmm. He can act. The kid can act. And, and we forget the kid's 26, 27, I think. He's right. So it was a very nice stepping stone for him. Slow burn, very slow burn. Credit to my daughter. You and I pride ourselves in how much we're cinephiling, teaching our children to become, movie watchers. She walked in to say goodnight, and it's the scene where the wife and minister are walking through the woods. Crap, I can't remember the actress's name. And she was like, that lady's going to die. I was like, what? You think she's going to die? And she was like, yeah, look, see how she just like looked off into the woods before they went for a walk? As she's saying it, boom, stabbed her with the screwdriver right in the neck. And I was like,
damn. Yeah, that's a bad scene to walk in on.
I know. And then she was like, and I was like, well, what'd you expect? She got stabbed in the neck. That's what happens. And she was like, all right, I was right. Good night. Goodbye. Yep, and then she went to bed. So she probably had nightmares. I didn't even
I was saying, then she was up half the night dreaming of the guy from Harry Potter stabbing her in the neck.
Right. I don't know. It was slow. I will tell you this. My wife hated it.
And I warned you that. Didn't I tell you that before you guys watched it?
You're spot on. Yeah.
I knew that would happen. And that's where it falls. It's definitely like a cinephile movie. It's not for everybody. I don't know that I can recommend this to just general public watch this because they're going to hate it. And I think most people are not going to like this movie. But I'm into it for the craft. I thought it was beautifully shot. Yes. I liked the score of it. I thought it sounded good. It looked good. It had good performances. It had a nice, arc to it, like I said, like a novel should. And I don't know if you knew, but the narrator of the story was the actual author of the book. So I thought that was kind of like a interesting tweak to the story. That was kind of cool to
That
include
bumped
him.
me up to a 3.25 now. I love that.
But yeah, like I said, the biggest problem of this is I'm going in for Holland and Pattinson, and I don't see them for 45 minutes.
Sure.
Like, what are you doing here? I
Skarsgård,
mean,
yeah.
I like Skarsgård. He's great. And I get you were trying to set up the, dad issues and history repeating itself through the generations. And like you said, this area, things don't really change, small towns, whatever. You set all that up, but maybe it was too much. Maybe it's a little too much with Skarsgård. And then the third kind of part of this story arc that we're trying to tie it together with this other couple and then Sebastian Stan, you could cut that entire part of the story and it really doesn't even matter to the okay. I really think if you cut out Sebastian Stan and Jason Clarke and Riley Keough, cut out that whole thing. I mean, it was interesting, but it would make a tighter movie, and the movie itself is more just about Bill Skarsgård and his effects on Tom Holland and what happens to him as an adult and blah blah blah. Their storyline is really ancillary and not necessary. This was
the dog. I felt horrible for the dog, for Holland's character. I was like, come on. Sorry, I don't want to give away too much away here. But
No, but I just think, if it was a shorter runtime, either that or you go the other way with it and you make this into a series. And it could have been an interesting series, to draw it out and do a little more character development, because that's part of it too. I went into this and I'm like, oh, Mia Wasikowski's in it. I like her. Haley Bennett's in it. I like her. They're totally underused and underwritten. Henry Melling is great, but he's barely in the movie and really not part of the main crux of the story. So it just didn't know what it wanted to be. There was too much going on. It was trying to be Crash. It was trying to be Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. It was trying to be a Coen Brothers movie, but it wasn't funny enough. Like, I don't know what it was trying to do. It was a little bit of a mess. So for me, that's why I kind of just fall right in the middle, that 3 out of 5-ish range for me. And but it's a shame. I really wanted to like it more. And if you are interested in Tom Holland and Robert Pattinson as actors, watch it. By all means, watch it, because they're great and they give good performances. Yeah, you're just not going to love it. I wasn't really that impressed with Sebastian Stan, though. I was like, okay, he's fine. Jason Clarke, I've bitched about him before. Stop trying to make him an actor. Like, Jason Clarke needs to just move somewhere and open up like an auto mechanic shop or something. Like, you're done. You're not an actor. You're definitely not a lead actor. Stop giving this guy parts. I think he sucks. I haven't really liked him in anything.
What was the Mud movie he ruined? The Mud movie.
Mudbound.
Mudbound. Yeah.
He was in Mudbound. He was in the Pet Sematary remake. He was in like the Planet of the Apes stuff, and he was terrible in all of it. He's never good. I'm sorry. Come at me with that hot take if you disagree.
God, I hope he likes this episode.
Hopefully he listens and he's like, "Ooh, they're going to review my movie." What else? I will shout out, though, Riley Keough. Like I said, we could have got rid of that whole storyline, but I thought she was the driving factor of that. She was great. I thought she was good. And I really liked Eliza Scanlon. They gave her a little bit more to do as far as the females in the movie, and I thought she was good. So, but what a tragic end to her story, So.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I think it was just a little bit of a mess, trying to do too much. Trying to pull in religious themes, trying to pull in depression, PTSD, even to some extent. I think like war stuff they were trying to comment on, and like we said, just the poor rural area, the coal mining towns and whatnot. It was just all over the place. So I don't know. They swung for the fences, I guess, and got a ground rule double.
Yeah, which isn't bad. That's still not bad.
It works, right?
All right, hit us up on those socials, folks. Let us know your thoughts on Devil All the Time. I know Bart already commented that he was disappointed that he wound up watching it on there, and I think a lot of people will kind of agree with that.
Oh yeah, definitely. You can't recommend this to the general public. I was going to say 2 important scenes though that I thought were great, and maybe this is a little spoilery, so if you're going to watch it, don't listen. But Tom Holland being a badass, kicking some ass, that was a great scene. I was like, damn, this is amazing. And then you finally get that one scene that pays off where you have Tom Holland and Robert Pattinson together in the church. That was also a like master class, in acting kind of scene. So watch those scenes, if anything.
And those Batman and Spider-Man in the church together. That was crazy.
Also, who jerks off in a Pepsi cup? Like what?
What? Okay, so that's a scene that I was really mad at. I was like,
I just looked at my notes and it says jerk off in the Pepsi cup. I'm like, yeah, wait a minute. I totally forgot about that.
The steering wheel is there. Like, go in the back seat. Like, that's what was bothering me about it. I was like, how? Like, he probably has his utility belt as a police officer. Like, that's in the way. And then I just thought that had to have been the most uncomfortable hand job of all time. Like, what are we doing right now, pal? But Okay, sorry. That's the title of the episode now. Most uncomfortable hand job of all time. All right, sorry.
Jerking off in a Pepsi cup.
All right, let's move along, buddy. Again, folks, hit us on those socials. Let us know about Devil all the time. Sadly, you're getting kind of a tepid review out of this, but I will just grumpy.
That's how Devil all the time made me.
Yes, that's your review of Grumpy. All right, let's move along to a documentary that we both were very anxious to watch, and that is the Challenger doc that just dropped over the weekend. I was only 3.5. I had yet to turn 4. No, 4.5, had yet to turn 5. You had like just turned 5. I have a vague memory of the. I have a memory of my dad telling me it happened. Again, I was only 4 something, so what was my father going to tell me? Sure. But I have that memory. Like, I don't remember it happening, but I have that. But I think you said you actually remember it.
Yeah, I was in a preschool. Like, I went to preschool in a church when I lived in Cleveland, and I distinctly remember sitting in that class with my preschool teacher and them wheeling in, like you see it in the documentary. They wheeled in the cart with the TV on it and sat all the kids in front of it. And we're like, watch this, explosion happen. And that's one of my first, memories, I think, going back. I was 5. Like I said, I don't remember much before that. So that's one of my first memories. It's a tragic event, man. And just seeing that footage again in this documentary, it still gave me chills. And I think in the 4th part, I even teared up a little bit. So overall, this is an important documentary. I think it's one of the more tragic events in our country's history between this and then like 9/11. Like those are 2 huge losses in our country's history that are for our generation, and this one is the first one. And I flew through the first 3 episodes of this pretty quickly, and then I had to take a little break, and then I finally came back to the 4th one. But overall, it's a competently made documentary. It's good. It's not amazing. You're not blown away by it, but if you have any interest in the story, it's definitely worth watching. We had commented, we talked a little bit before, there's a couple revelations in here we didn't know about, i.e. them possibly still being alive after the explosion. I didn't know that. I don't remember that ever really being reported before. And then just the fact that they really got into how much maybe they knew beforehand, and that there was going to be possibly a catastrophic failure. They maybe knew about it and still went ahead with it. So some of those things were troubling to find out. But it was really well made. It was good to hear from the survivors and all that stuff. Any other thoughts besides that?
Yeah, no, finding out those extra tidbits, I didn't, I never knew that it was actually scheduled for Sunday, but then they pushed it back because of weather. Then they pushed it back again because of cold weather. And then you think about it, it's like, holy F, like, because of the cold weather. And that's the recommendation from these engineers, is that these O-rings get cold and they won't perform properly. They weren't performing properly when it was warm out. So even that makes it like, gosh darn, like, what are we doing here, Harry? And then you can see it from NASA side of things, like they're putting a teacher into space, and like it was such a big to do that a regular person was now going into outer space, and going forward it was going to be all that. And so 2 things that got me was the girl who finished in second, the teacher who came in second.
Oh, yeah.
Like how she could have, like, the rest of her life, like, holy F, like I just missed dying. And B, the guy who, the astronaut who got bumped back 3 times because they wanted to put a congressman out into space and then a senator out there, and they kept bumping in, and they're like, oh, we'll make it up to you. We'll put you on the Challenger mission. And so he's like, sweet, now he gets to go up. And now look what happened. Little things like that are always just mind blowing to me. I will say episode 2, folks, when it's only 4 eps. So episode 2 does get nerdy. Like we get into, you have 250 tons that have to go 85 football fields in 1 second, which that stuff I'm eating up. But I can see where other people are like, all right, my eyes went cross-eyed. We're getting into nerdy math stuff right now. But episodes 3 and then 4, when they really dive into what happened and the shadiness behind it and the investigation behind it, and how NASA like refused to speak up and all that stuff, is just, it's rough. And then they give you the teacher's backstory and the husband and the kids and all that gets you just like, mother effer. Like, for us, for our age, we didn't realize that much. And I talked to my dad, I saw him the other day and chatted with him about it. And he was like, oh yeah, man. Like everyone was just absolutely heartbroken, just devastated, because they talk about it in the doc. This rejuvenated the space program. This rejuvenated NASA. Like at that point, we as Americans were just like, cool, we're in space again, whatever, which is stupid to think that. But they had made it so easy and so arrogantly like, yeah, this is just a thing that we can do, that now finally they found a marketing ploy to get people to buy back in. And their marketing ploy literally blew up in their face. Maybe that was a bad joke to make. Either way.
I mean, but I'm there with you. I felt it was crazy to me to think this is 35 years ago, whatever, however long.
In January, which is weird. Why didn't they just wait till January to release this?
Like I don't know.
But anyway.
But still, it's like, okay, you watch the footage and you're like, man, our country was in a great place. Like everyone loved America. They were excited about this. We were sending a regular person up there, which was a woman, not to mention that. We also had a black man. We had an Asian man. Like it was diverse. There were women. There were, people of color. Why are we in this situation now, 35 years later, where people hate you know what I mean? Like that's what I was thinking about, like in the frame of reference of where we're at today. I was like, man, that sucks. People loved our country and what we were doing back then.
Yeah.
And where have we come from then? That hurts a little bit to watch it in hindsight. I thought there was some kind of cool behind the scenes stuff though, like showing them in that little beach house for the families before they launched. That was cool. I never knew anything like that existed. That was a cool thing. I didn't know Peter Billingsley was involved at all, the kid from Christmas Story.
Crazy.
I was like, what is he doing here? So he was like a little like kid astronaut kind of liaison or whatever. That was kind of fun.
And he was tapped
weren't
to
they talking
up.
about him? Yeah, they were going to send him up. Yeah, so that's crazy that he didn't get to go. Yeah, I don't know. It was well made. It was well made. Like you said, it gets a little technical jargon and stuff, a couple of the episodes in there, but 4 eps, it's going to go by real quick for you. If you have any interest at all, check it out on Netflix. Challenger, Final Flight, 4 episodes. J.J. Abrams produced through the Bad Robot there, and I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Fully recommend on my end as well. Okay, we're going to stay in outer space because I wound up watching Away.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's weird. Good synergy. I didn't even think about that.
Thank you, sir. So this dropped September 4th. This is Hilary Swank, amongst many others that's just dropped. I honestly, buddy, I thought I'll watch this, get started on it, and this would be like our first take edition.
Yeah, I didn't know you were going to get through it all. Yeah.
I didn't either. And I guess that speaks to how much I enjoyed it. 10 eps, 10 1-hour eps. Not 10,
Ooh.
like...
You watched 10 hours of Hilary Swank in space?
Yes, I did.
Wow. Okay.
Pop, pop, bang. Yeah, Josh Charles is the other one in here, is your other big name, so to speak. So, I obviously enjoyed it. I knocked out this 10-episode thing over the weekend-ish, if you will, and I enjoyed it. It's a lot of space peril. Like, one little thing goes wrong, and we're all dead. Boom, we're all gone. They are going to Mars. We have finally gotten to the point where our space program has advanced to go to Mars. We're sending this crew. It's a 3-year mission. We have a compromise and working togetherness with all the countries. Excuse me, all the countries involved. Russia. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, exactly. A Russia space program and Asian space program and all that. They're all coming together to make this mission happen. So therefore, you have a ton of diversity on this flight. You even have non-astronauts on this flight. And that's all they're doing here is because they want to try and get to Mars. There's a botanist on there, and he's going to try and grow life and everything that we're doing going to Mars. The driving force of this is Hilary Swank is married with a teenage girl child. And so she's leaving her fam for 3 years. And these other people, they have other families that they're now leaving them for 3 years. And what toll is this taking on your life? What toll is this taking on you and on them? Of course, what happens? She leaves, stuff happens back home. The daughter she's a teenage girl. So this is like huge for her. She's getting a boyfriend and she's growing up and the mom's not there to help. Josh Charles plays the husband. Josh Charles, this might be like my favorite role of his. Like he's always like that number 2, maybe like number 3 guy that does a good job in a film, but isn't like, it's like, oh yeah, he played that guy. He was the bad guy in SWAT or something to that effect. He's good in this. He's really good in this. He has an issue where he has a health problem, which puts him in a wheelchair. So then now he has to deal with that all at the same time. Anyway, the space stuff is cool. It's stuff, like, hey, they have to spacewalk. It's very dangerous. Put you on the edge of your seat. Every other episode, something bad happens where it's like, hey, let's put them on the edge of their seat to see if they survive. And that's what keeps you coming back for each and every next episode. I'm going to give this like a 7.5. Again, we've talked about this many times. I'm very into outer space stuff, very into space programming stuff. So there's a lot of that, a lot of NASA things going on. Very akin to the Challenger doc, where NASA needs to market this a certain way. They marketed this where the Asian astronaut has to be the first one to step on Mars because that's the deal they struck and the money they paid. Like still little stuff like that they even get into. Knocks on this. The teenage girl, Talitha Bateman is her name, the actress. She does a very good job. I feel the writing for the 14-year-old girl in this felt a little adult to me. Mm-hmm. Maybe a 14-year-old wouldn't be saying the sentences that she would say. Like an adult would think that way, but maybe a 14-year-old might not think that. That's the vibe I was getting. The acting was perfectly fine. She did a good job. Swank is Swank. She is perfectly fine. Again, I already mentioned Josh Charles was good. I recommend it, man. Away, it's on Netflix. You don't have to crank it out like I did, But, it, like anything else on Netflix, it's going to push you towards the second season, push you towards coming back. I was a little surprised at how it ended, but we're in the era of, I'm not just going to give you one season anymore, right? We're going to try and push this 2-3 seasons, what have you. So
Sure.
I'm intrigued once season 2 does get announced and they get there, what are we doing? Like what's happening now that these certain events have taken place? So I recommend it. It was good. 7.5 out of me. And away, if you're into Hillary Spike, if you're into the space stuff, I think you'll enjoy it.
Did Josh Charles push a chair out at any point?
No, because
push the stool out.
Push the stool out.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I saw the preview for it, and I just wasn't really grabbed by it. Did you ever end up watching Ad Astra?
No.
Okay.
I should.
I was going to ask you if it maybe, because like Ad Astra is a little more personal story set in like space with the background. So that's kind of what this sounds like, is more just the personal stuff, but set with, space as a background. And then they had that other movie came out last year as well. Was that with Anne Hathaway, I think, where she went to space or something? I remember seeing a trailer for something similar to this, and I was like, whatever happened to that movie? I never saw it.
Interstellar. You hate that movie.
No, not Interstellar. There was a different one. No, I don't remember what it was called.
I didn't see that one either. Sorry.
I think it was called Lucy in the Sky. Is that what it was?
Oh, yeah. That's right. Yeah. Shoot. No, I never saw that. I don't think anybody saw it.
Okay. So yeah, it seems kind of similar though, like more based on the personal storyline than it is in just space is just that kind of there, not necessarily the motivation of the story. So
last thing I'll say, they can text home and they could make phone calls and like FaceTime home while like they go to the moon, pit stop at the moon, refuel, get ready to rock. Then they lift off again from the moon to go to Mars. The whole time until they get like 2/3 of the way to Mars, they can FaceTime. Real-time FaceTime each other. Like they have a better connection than you and I do right now on this call.
I was going to say, yeah, we need to get that technology. I need to get on a satellite, take 2 satellites.
Not even joking. I was like, this is ridiculous. And then when they get too close, they can only send each other like emails or texts. And that's it. From the spaceship all the way back. From Mars. I was like,
too strong. Well, it's too strong.
It was the most unbelievable part of it. Like I bought that we could fly to Mars. I was not buying that you could shoot a text message to your daughter from the spaceship that's almost to Mars. No.
Wow. Hard crazy. All right. Before I get into my review, I'm going to give you a little preview of what will be what's in the glass. So I don't know if you can see this for our YouTube viewers. I'm going to put this on the screen, and then I'm going to give you a little ASMR for you.
Oh,
Isn't that nice?
Hear that? Man, you podcast only listeners, you're missing out. Look at this pour. Look at that. That's a professional pour right there, folks. There's not going to be a lot of head on this guy. A little bit of foam from the angle, bringing it down. By the way, folks, we normally record in the morning. I've never narrated a beer pour before, but this is me practicing for my sportscasting skills. We've usually recorded in the morning, so it's like 8 a.m. we normally record. So obviously there's no beers or anything being drunk. Or we used to in the way back do it at nighttime, but our jobs didn't permit that anymore. So now we're recording in the mid-afternoon and decided to have some beverages. That was a glorious pour. Well done, sir.
It was good. Thank you. So I will give my review and my thoughts on this. I'm just going to let it hit the palate for a few minutes while we do the next review.
Let me ask you this. Is that your first taste of this?
This is.
So this is you cannot get any more live what's in the glass than what we're going to give you today.
You just heard it opened, you saw it poured, and now you're going to get my review in just a few minutes on this beer. But first I want to give you my first take. We're doing another first take. Every week, a new first take. And this is on the Netflix series Ratched, which I did have a chance to catch up with, but I was, unlike you, I didn't get to pound through 10 hours of TV or whatever.
Sorry.
No, that's all right. So this is 8 episodes on Netflix, Ratched, and this is starring Sarah Paulson, and this is the prequel series to One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Basically, is the best way to describe it. You're getting into the character of Nurse Ratched and seeing her beginnings and what made her the way she is. And this is brought to you by Ryan Murphy, who of course did American Horror Story, People vs. O.J. Simpson. He's done a bunch of stuff. Hollywood, I think you just recently watched.
Oh yeah. That was fine. Yeah.
Yeah, he's all over the map with a lot of his stuff that he's done. To me, this rings the most true to something like American Horror Story. The production design, things like that. The scoring's by Matt Quayle, who also does American Horror Story. So it's very similar to American Horror Story. It almost feels like another season of it to me. And therein lies the issue with the show, I think. I like it so far. I've watched 2 episodes. It's okay. I'm not like, oh man, this is amazing. I can't wait to finish it. but I probably will stick it through to do the full 8 episodes and get the run. But I've seen some kind of iffy reviews on it, and I think that's why. Because if you're a fan of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, whether it be the book, play, or TV or a movie version, I don't think Nurse Ratched is seen as a villain, but I don't think she's seen as like a horror villain. This show definitely goes more like down the road of it's a horror movie like show. Like so,
okay.
Yeah, so it's interesting how it's getting that vibe, and maybe that's why it's getting weird reviews. There's also some weird kind of characterizations or character motivations, things like that they've worked into the story, and I'm like, I don't think this comes from the source material. I think this is all Ryan Murphy really extrapolating onto the character what he feels like. So maybe some of the harsh reviews are from the true fans of the novel or the movie itself. But anyways, it also stars Finn Wittrock, who I really like him. I don't understand why he hasn't really ever done more than just like the Ryan Murphy TV stuff. I don't think I've really seen him in a lot of movies or anything. I think he's good. Cynthia Nixon shows up in here. Sharon Stone is supposed to be in the cast. I've watched 2 episodes. I haven't seen her yet. We see Corey Stoll makes an appearance. Wow. Vincent D'Onofrio. You get a mini Pulp Fiction reunion here with Rosanna Arquette and Amanda Plummer, so that's fun. But so yeah, it's got a lot of good people in the cast. I love the production design of it so far. That's the thing that's really keeping me interested. And the setting, the score, everything about that so far is setting a nice feel for me where I really enjoy it. They're really making it almost seem like it's a Hitchcock movie or something. It's really playing like Psycho to me, like 50s, and it's got that sweet Bernard Herrmann-esque score, and so I'm into it. Only 2 episodes so far. I will watch the whole thing and get back to you with my final thoughts, but if you like Ryan Murphy stuff, and if you like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, you like Sarah Paulson, if any of those things are your jam, get into it. I think it's good, and I think you'll enjoy it. I don't understand really why it's getting kind of tepid reviews, and maybe once I get the whole run in, I'll understand, but for me, so far, it is what I expected it to be.
I just realized, buddy, we're all Netflix today.
True story. The Devil, the Challenger, the Ratched, and the Away. We should talk to our buddies. Yeah, talk to our buddies over at Netflix and Swill. Tell them to take the week off.
We're all Netflix here today. All right, there you go, folks. Hit us up on those socials at Take2Podcast for Twitter. Take2Podcast at gmail.com is the email. And then, of course, our phone number is 434-602-1931. Shoot us a text message or leave a voicemail there and let us know what you thought of any of our 4 reviews that we just dropped for you guys that were mostly positive, kind of medium, all across the board for the most part there. And tell us your other thoughts as well. Facebook and Instagram, join both of those. Our Instagram is hot right now. We're posting a ton of stuff, especially onto our story where you can interact with the story a lot. And then Facebook, if you join the regular page, awesome. We want that. But then also join that group page, Take-Two Universe, and there's a little more interactivity going on there. Now, I got to chat with Georgina Castle. She's an actress. She's out of London, England. She's done some stage work more so than screen. She booked the lead role in 9 to 5, that Dolly Parton musical, nice. Over England's version of that. Really cool. And her and I got to chit chat. She's now currently doing some workshops, one-on-one stuff with other actors, singers, and what have you now. So you can even hit her up now. Any actors out there that want to work on their craft, she's willing to help out. Her and I got to chat over Zoom. This was A, my first ever Zoom recording. B, first ever international recording. Which is pretty cool. So apologies for any wonkiness in the audio or the you know what I mean, with the connection issues that we had. I thought it was okay, but it might not be up to our standard. But here is my phenomenal, really fun chat with Miss Georgina Castle. All right, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed that right there. Hit her up. Well, of course, we'll tag her on all the socials and then follow her. And any of you guys out there that are interested in acting to any degree, hit her up, because she is going to be out there and she does help. Her and I even chatted about things that we can each do better in auditions and what have you. But now that Tony has an infiltrator in his room, sneaking around, a little Spider-Man.
He was sneaking around. You saw him, yeah.
Yeah, climbing the walls and sneaking underneath.
This is why we can't do YouTube. There's always people just wandering around in the background. Who knows what?
Technically, it is his bedroom, but whatever. Okay, for you podcast folks, we're going to take a quick breather. For you YouTube watchers, you're just going to see us kind of like sit here for like half a second, but we will be right back. Okay, so we do our weekly poll, and we do our weekly superhero secret cinema. My McAllen's kicking in. I'm not going to lie, champ. Right
How many is that? 3?
It's a 2. No, we're still at 2, but I have not eaten since 7 a.m. So, anywho, this is going to get good. But you and I have both been just throwing lots of random little things up there, and it's been getting some good interactivity and stuff like that. And I literally was about to text you and say, hey, man, give me your ranked Batman actors. How do you rank them? And I was about to post on the Facebook page, here's mine, here's Tony's. What is your favorite Batman of all time? As I'm texting you that, I get a notification from someone chiming in that you posted to the universe page. Hey, who's your favorite Batman of all time? So same brain out there, whatever, as you can say. But that is what happened. We posted on there, who's your favorite Batman? And we got a hell of a response all day on Batman Day.
Yeah. And initially that was just going to be for the universe crew to kind of get some discussion going over there, but it picked up some steam. So I was like, why not put it everywhere? So Instagram, Twitter, you guys all joined in as well. So we got some responses. The Girl Apocalypse podcast. I think that's a new commenter for us. They said Keaton, and that was on Instagram. So shout out to them. Some new commenters there. Will, he's been chiming in every week now, so I'm happy Will's joining in. So he said that Christian Bale was his favorite. However, he thought the most comic accurate was Ben Affleck. So we had a few people kind of chiming in and saying, more than one or whatever, and giving their specific takes on different versions of the character and why. Nice. We had Too Easy with Millions. I don't know who that is. They're a new commenter over on Twitter. They said Christian Bale. Mediocre Entertainment said Keaton and Arnett. They kind of did both. They really like, Will Arnett's performance there. We had one shout out for Adam West over on Twitter as well, Strelly. Chris and Christine just simply said Nipplegate. So
okay,
that was a nice take there. Talking about the nipples. Yeah. We had a shout out for Kevin Conroy from MDX Pod. They chimed in there. Film Code gave us Bale and Pattinson, so they're that excited about what they've seen on Pattinson so far to already shout him out. Which I was wondering if anybody was going to bite on that. I wanted to add him into the picture and see if anybody bit on that. But then the most activity came over on Facebook. We had Bart, Michael Keaton. Sean, a coworker of ours, said Michael Keaton with a slight edge over Christian Bale. My wife admitted her love for Val Kilmer. She loves the Val Kilmer.
Awkwardly.
And our former co-host, Jen, also chimed in and said Val Kilmer. So.
Hey, can I pause real quick?
Yeah.
Happy anniversary to you and the wife.
Oh, thanks.
17 years?
Buddy. 17 years this weekend.
And she has put up with you. I've only had to put up with you for 4.
Yeah.
God bless her.
And that explains how busy our weekend was if she was chiming in on our Take Two Facebook page.
On your anniversary.
I love that. On our anniversary, Happy anniversary. I love Val Kilmer. Happy anniversary. Okay. Also, former co-host chimed in, Bo, if you remember back to episodes like 20, you might have heard that guy. He said Keaton for the younger Batman, Affleck as the older Batman. And this is where I put my foot down. I said, you guys need to choose one. Choose one. Yeah. Stop doing this caveats. Bruce Wayne and this and whatever. No, just choose one. John says Ben Affleck. Joe from the Those Movie Guys podcast, he said Kevin Conroy as well. So we got a nice shout out for him. He said all day, all night. I love all the live action guys, but he is pound for pound the best Bruce and Batman combo. So I kind of tend to agree. I think he really does sell the Bruce Wayne, especially. So Chris chimed in with Christian Bale. Katz went with Christian Bale. Keaton, we got another shout out for Keaton from Craig. He wants to fight people who say anything otherwise. So
I'd like to see that.
Yeah, lot of interaction. We also got, the Punk Rock Horror podcast said Lego Batman. Ryan L. Terry said Michael Keaton, and Colby chimed in with just a gif of Ben Affleck. So it was kind of all over the place, to be honest. Everybody has their own favorites and for different reasons, I guess.
We're going to talk more about Ben Affleck playing Batman again later in the DC discussion. On Batman Day, I wanted to throw some Batman on, and we were just kind of hanging out with the kids around the house. And I originally went to the DC app. Man, the DC app sucks now, man.
We're going to get into that. We're going to get into that in the news, too.
So eventually, I just wound up putting on the animated series.
Yeah.
And that was actually
Watch Mask of Phantasm, baby. Watch that.
I should have.
But I think it's on Netflix right now, and it's less than an hour and a half long. It's a good one, yeah.
Maybe next time I do that. But either way, I put on just like a random episode in season 1 of just the animated series, and both kids were instantly hooked, and so was I. But I was like, nice, there we go. Hello, look at that picture. Man, you podcast listeners, I feel bad for you guys. You're not seeing the gloriousness. Oh, that's a Craig word, gloriousness. Hi, Craigie, love you.
I was kind of
that,
proud of that picture, though. I thought it came across good.
it's a good one. Nice.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, folks. Thanks for jumping on to all the socials there and jumping on to Batman Day.
You didn't say your decision. I know you're a Superman guy. Where do you fall?
Yeah, it's funny. So, this is obviously Superman guys are usually anti-Bat. I'm not anti-Batman. That's the kicker of it all. It's hard to go over Keaton. I love Bale. Love Bale.
I love Keaton as well, but there's my thing is I don't think he's as good as Bruce Wayne.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
And that's why recently I've taken more to Affleck, just because I think he really sells both parts equally well.
Yeah, valid. Here's what I will say though. I saw I think it was Craig bringing it up again, mentioned like I'll fight anybody who says it's not Keaton. Like at what point could you then accept that someone just did it better? I mean, Bale, 3 films, phenomenal. Yeah. Okay, what if Pattinson gives you 5 films and they're all phenomenal? I understand Keaton being your childhood and being your first love and all that kind of jazz, but if someone simply just does it better, I don't know.
Yeah, because a lot of people fall on Bale. I think the only thing I didn't love about Bale is the voice, and that's the biggest critical thing people talk about is the voice is a little overdone. So we'll see. And it of course opinions change throughout time and all that too, because I probably would have always said Keaton before, but I've warmed to Affleck the last few years. So
no argument. All right, let's talk about things that are going to come soon, and that are trailers. Here comes our trailer talk.
Yeah, which I think I had texted you, and I was like, wait a minute, did we already talk about Mandalorian Season 2's trailer? Because it seems like it was so long ago that came out, but I guess not. I think it dropped right after we recorded last week.
Checked off that week, that tradition that we have. Some breaking news always happens right as we stop recording, but either way, I loved it, man. Like as if I wasn't going to watch already. I loved it. I thought the little bit with Yoda or with Baby Yoda hitting the shield to come over top of his thing when he was about to fight or whatever. I thought it was hilarious. It was a good job. Yeah, exactly. And then just when they were just like, I forget the exact line, paraphrasing, but I need to deliver to an ancient set of sorcerers called the Jedi. I was like, "Ooh, is this where we're going here?" And we're going to call them sorcerers and like the mythology of the Jedi. Are we getting into that? Because that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This may be a little bit of a hot take, but I didn't love it as much.
Hot takey, it is.
Yeah, I liked it, but I was already sold. I was already going to watch it anyways, and what they showed me, it was just a lot of quick little things, and it didn't really introduce much new that got me excited.
Sure.
I don't know. I guess I kind of hoped for maybe a little bit more that would excite me, and it didn't give me that. It was just a lot of more of the same. Hey, here's Baby Yoda. You liked him, remember? Oh, he said this is the way a couple times. You guys like that. You know what I mean? Like, and I just feel like I don't even need to see anything else. Like, just give me the show, put it right in here, in the veins. I'm ready for season 2. I don't need to see more footage. So to me, it wasn't as exciting as I hoped, I guess, but it was good. It was good nonetheless. I'm just worried that they're going to make this show into let's farm out into this. Let's go into this. Let's introduce somebody. And then it's going to be another spinoff and another spinoff. Like, I don't want this to be that show. And that's what worries me.
No, agreed. I did see some people ache into like your thought process of the October 30th release date. Who was it? Mike and Oscar maybe put out there where they're just like, if I see a buttload of Mandalorian stuff the weekend of Halloween, I'm going to be very mad.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And I actually just wait a week.
I actually agree with that. That's right. Yeah. That weekend should be all just for nothing but horror films and what have you.
Unless that first episode is going to be like Baby Yoda killing somebody, like legit slicing off a head or something, like a horror version of Mandalorian. Leave it go a couple days, man.
Yoda calls a Mandalorian, do you like scary movies?
Oh, man.
Okay, I did not text you, but WandaVision dropped. Did you get a chance to watch it?
Yeah, I saw it last night watching the Pandemies. And it, we kind of already got a tease to this extent of what we should expect. Yeah. This was just a little bit longer look. I was most taken back by Catherine Hahn. What's going on with Catherine Hahn in here?
Right.
I love her. I'm excited that she's even part of this. I don't think we knew she was part of this. So it looks very strange, and I'm kind of here for it. I don't love those characters, but if they're going to do something this unique with it, I want to see what they're doing.
Yeah, I think this is Marvel's lane. They take characters that not a lot of people knew about or cared about and made you interested. And I'm with you. WandaVision, they've done nothing for me ever from day one. But after watching that, and I might have drunkenly tweeted like, what did I just watch? Like, that looked wild. That looks like a wild ride that I'm totally in for. The only flaw I had with it is still no release date. It did say 2020.
Yeah, I think, and I saw something else today that said, Falcon Winter Soldier definitely is being pushed to 2021. So I'm assuming this will come out after The Mandalorian wraps, so probably in December. I mean, that's probably our best bet.
That's valid. That's valid. I'm already annoyed with people who are going to tweet like the connectivity of this show to the MCU. Like, oh wait, if that happened on that day, why wouldn't? I'm already annoyed with people that are going to tweet that corn.
Yeah, I don't really care about that, but it looked cool. It looked cool how we're going through the different eras. We're in black and white TV. We're gonna see some '80s looking stuff. It looked like we're getting the comic book costumes of the characters. That was kind of a fun little nod. So whatever, I'm in for it. We'll see how it goes.
And maybe MCU stands who don't know that Elizabeth Olsen is a phenomenal actress will find out how great of an actress she is. Because I bet there's a lot of people out there that don't know how much independent film work that she's done.
Yeah, and a lot of people got held up on the accent early on, and I'm glad they've kind of moved away from that, like her trying to rely on that because it was stupid and that was not good. So yeah, if you've never seen Ingrid Goes West, is a great movie with her. Yeah, I totally agree. She's a great actress, and I would like to see her show some range in this, and it looks like maybe she will. So that's good.
October 6th.
All right, did you watch?
Go ahead. We're going to say the same words. Please, go ahead.
Did you watch the opening act trailer? This will appease Mr. Katz. This is our multiple shout-outs an episode for him. What'd you think about that?
Yeah, what is this? October 16th, this one is dropping. Looks good. It's got some big names in it. I'm intrigued to see it. I'm on the minority side here. I don't like Jung. What's his,
Jimmy O Yang. Ken Jeong. Ken Jeong.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, he looks like he's in there, but he's not the main guy. It's more Jimmy O Yang. I like Jimmy O Yang. His work on Silicon Valley. He had a little bit of work in Space Force. It was all right. This looked weirdly like low budgety to me. Like they were filming it on really low quality cameras or something. I don't know if that was on purpose or just a budget thing, but that was my biggest takeaway for the trailer. I was like, what? This looks really low budget, but. Sure. I like some of the people involved. It could be kind of funny. So good to see a movie being made about stand-up comedy. So opening act, check that out when it comes around. Did you watch the first of our trailers for the Blumhouse Amazon October project? And that's Black Box.
Yes, I did.
I love making you watch this.
Buddy, is Felicia Rashad going to be the villain?
Yeah, I don't know. And I love the guy. I don't have his name, but the actor who's the main star of this, he was in Uncorked on Netflix. Okay. And I love that movie. I thought he was great in it. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him in something else. And this looks cool. It reminds me of something like Lawnmower Man back in the day, like the virtual reality world, like something weird like that. But it looks cool. It looks like a nice little twist on the horror genre, and I'm glad that Blumhouse has given us this stuff. I hope it pays off more than the Hulu stuff that they did with every month they were doing the holiday themed horror over there on Hulu. I didn't really like most of those, to be honest. So I hope these look like they're a step up as far as the budget and what they're doing with it. So hopefully they're better.
October 6th, Amazon production right there. I really hope Felicia Rashad is the bad guy. I don't know why. I just really hope. Yeah. But the scariest part to me, I don't like the kids' faces blurred out. Like when he goes into his mind as like the blurry kid face, like.
And the people all twisting around, breaking their limbs and backs and whatever.
Yeah. My mind does not control me. I control my mind.
So there was another trailer also called The Lie, which came out, and that's the other movie. They're releasing 2 each weekend in October through Blumhouse. So 8 movies, all. And that one has Joey King in it. I didn't ask you to watch the trailer, but that one's also coming. It looks okay. I think Black Box looks like the better of the 2. That's with Peter Sarsgaard, Joey King, and Muriel Enos, and directed by Vina Sood. Who did,
are there 47 Skarsgårds?
I think so. There's Skarsgårds. There's all sorts of them. Yeah, all sorts of guards.
Stellar, old guards. Peter, Bill. Bob, Pennywise. Okay.
All right. Other trailer I saw was Moonbase 8. I think I sent this your way. I shared it on our page as well. To me, this looks like a funnier version of Space Force, because Space Force wasn't that funny.
Yeah, 100%.
And this is on Showtime. Yeah, this is on Showtime. So I may have to check this out. I like all the people involved. You get John C. Reilly. Who else? Fred Armisen, I think, was in there, right?
Yeah. I think they listened to our review of Space Force, where we said Space Force couldn't decide were they going to be a drama or a comedy, and they, flirted, and they said, you know what, we'll just go comedy, and you just come and enjoy our ride as a comedy, and there's a comedy, and we'll just have fun, and that's it, and that's what it looks like. It looks like it's going to be kind of cheesy, kind of fun, and I'm interested. Only 6 episodes coming out in November.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah, I'm in on this. If I had Showtime, I go back and forth with Showtime every once in a while. I'll sign up. just to watch like one thing or whatever. So this may be something I want to check out that they put out. They got my attention at the very least.
Agreed.
So, did you have any other trailers though?
I saw the Croods Part 2. They released their quick trailer. There's nothing to say there. We're getting a sequel to the Croods. Yeah, our family kind of enjoyed that. That's kind of like a little thing. Our family with that one. There's some quotes in there that but I know that movie didn't hit well. All right, neato. Sure. Looks fun.
Which, I mean, I have that in my news as well, but they moved that one up. That moved up to the Thanksgiving release. It's November 25th from Christmas. It was supposed to be December. So, and if I'm not mistaken, that is going to be the first movie we see kind of test that PVOD window, because this is a part of the Universal deal. So we may see it release Thanksgiving and then be on PVOD anyways in 17 days. So heads up that if anybody's on the fence about seeing it in the theater, it might be one of the first ones available. So. All
right, folks, you've been waiting, and so have I with you. But here we are. We're going to get your What's in the Glass review. All right, man.
All right. So I didn't, I don't know if you know, but people who are really into craft beer, they call them like neck beards a lot of times because they're so like, so I didn't shave my neck just purposely for this review. So I am a neck beard. So I am the craft beer guru today with this one. This is Treehouse. Treehouse is, if you know your beer, they're one of the best in the game. They were one of the first to really do the craft beer craze and make their stuff elusive and hard to get, whatnot. So I had a friend who was able to get some from Massachusetts this past week, hit me up and said, do you want to buy some, if I can get a case or whatever. So I definitely did. And they're very green. I drank it on the air here. You heard me open it and you saw my pour.
Yeah.
And this is a double IPA. Yeah, double IPA, 8.3%. I'm looking at it on Untapped right now. Out of 5, they do their 5-star ratings. It's sitting at a 4.62. So this thing is almost perfect in most people's minds.
Wow.
And it is. It's a very good, very juicy. It doesn't taste as alcoholic as you think it is with an 8.3%.
Yeah.
Very fruity, citrusy, a little bit of like pineapple-y almost to me. I'm really enjoying it, and I'm looking forward to getting another can in my gullet soon once we're done recording.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I love their stuff. Like I said, anytime I can get a hold of it, it is kind of hard to get down here. They don't distribute or anything. You have to go through them in the brewery up in Massachusetts. So Treehouse is a big one in the craft beer world. So I was glad to get a half case of this stuff.
I like that this was like some under the table, like, hey man, I'm headed up to Mass.
Yeah,
get you a case. You want anything? I'll put it in the back of the trunk. We'll hide it underneath some blankets. No one will know. You got your Treehouse.
Sounds like it's like out of like The Irishman or something. Like it fell off a truck, we did like a multi-state deal.
It was de-aged De Niro telling you that he didn't do anything wrong there. Okay, good. Well, good. I'm glad that it didn't suck. And you're just like, whoa, why did I just drink this crap?
No. I knew it was gonna be very good. That's why I kind of proposed the live version of What's in the Glass. So very good, very tasty. Always get Treehouse if you can. That's a rule of life.
I see. Okay, that's our What's in the Glass. On to the casting couch.
All right. Sorry, I had to sing along.
It's quite all right. Boss Baby Part 2 has added 3 big names to their cast list. They're bringing back all the originals, Kimmel and I almost said Affleck, Kimmel and Baldwin, and then they're adding Jeff Goldblum, Ava Longoria, and James Marsden.
Yes. And Amy Sedaris. Amy Sedaris is also playing the new. It looks like it's going to focus on the girl character.
Nice.
So she's going to be kind of the daughter of, I believe it's Tim from the first movie, is now grown up, and it's going to be his daughter is now going to be the boss baby.
Oh, okay.
I think that's where they're going with it. And actually, they've also recast James Marsden is going to be taking over that role from Tobey Maguire. Tobey Maguire played like the teen version of the character, but now that he's older, it's going to be James Marsden.
Gotcha. My kids dabbled in the TV show. A little bit. They weren't hooked on. Like if it was on, they would watch it, what have you. But okay, it looks like they're definitely time jumping to a degree, to make them a little older.
I mean, I remember actually, I think I reviewed it for the show here with the kids way back when it released. I remember taking the kids to see it and doing a little what did we used to call it? The Rugrat review. Yeah,
we used to have those. Yeah, Rugrat reviews.
Yeah.
Now our kids are old. We can't do them anymore.
No. Now they're like, I saw this movie where the guy from Harry Potter stabs that other chick in the neck.
Oh, it makes me feel old. Damn it. Okay.
All right, what else you got?
Cobweb is a thriller film that added Lizzie Kaplan and Anthony Starr. Anthony Starr, of course, is rocking out The Boys currently right now. I mean, you folks know Lizzie Kaplan. I think we talked about Anthony Starr when we were talking about The Boys. Like, I hope this dude blows up because he's doing such a great job with The
Sure.
Boys, especially season 2. Like, I'd love to see some more stuff from this guy. Never gonna.
Yeah, yeah. I'm always here for anything he gets cast in.
Handmaid's Tale is adding McKenna Grace to season 4 of their thing. This is a miss for. Have you ever watched any Handmaid's Tale?
No, I wanted to, but living in the era we live in, it seems like a documentary to me. So I just can't bring myself to watch it. It just seems like it would be too heavy and too depressing. So that might be one I catch up with down the road once it finally wraps and just binge it all out, you know?
Saturday Night Live has cast Joe Biden, and it's going to be Jim Carrey.
Yeah, that's I don't know if you saw, there's a little bit of blowback on that on the internet. Did you see?
Was it because Sudeikis already played him well, or?
Well, partially, but also because of Carrie being kind of like the political, voice of anti-vaxxing and all that kind of stuff. So people are like,
True.
why are you bringing this guy on there? And yeah, like you said, Sudeikis already did it. So why not just bring Sudeikis back? Sudeikis is the man.
I also don't see Biden when I look at Jim Carrey.
Yeah, that's weird. Because you don't, for as much as they may not admit it, SNL likes to take a political stance. And they like to know who they want to be, so are they going to be playing him up that funny, or do they really want to make him seem like a genuine guy that they want to be the next president? I don't know. I guess we'll see when they come back in October. Speaking of, they did announce they're going to have a limited audience for when they return. They also added 3 new featured players, and they did say Aidy Bryant and Cicely Strong are not going to be there as much. They have other projects going on. I think Aidy Bryant is doing Shrill, so they're going to be kind of limited capacity this season. And then also Maya Rudolph will be back, just to play Kamala Harris as well. So
yeah, and I did see that McKinnon signed a new deal, so McKinnon will be back, which is good.
Okay, that's a Ginsburg.
How
are you going to do that part anymore? I guess I don't know.
Oh, jeez, yeah. Interesting. I'm glad that SNL is coming back to some degree. I'm intrigued with the Biden casting. That's interesting as well. But
sure.
Yeah.
I wanted to pull up. I had the names of the people they brought on just to shout them out, but I don't know where I had that. I didn't write it down.
Shout it out loud.
Yeah,
I was just trying to stop right. Oh, it's okay. Do you want to talk word casting now, or do you want to do that in the news? It's
Go
casting.
For it. Do what you
All right.
want.
So it was released this week that Tom Hardy was cast as 007.
Yeah, a big rumor, but it was spread by some reputable sites saying that they have inside information on it. So it's weird why they'll put that out before the movie releases.
That's my issue here. I don't care who's like, why discredit Craig in any degree? Like, let him have his film release, be done, wrap, say goodbye. You said it, and I agree with you. I feel there's going to be finality to Craig in this film. Like, they'll kind of say goodbye to him in some type of way in this film. Cool. And then obviously we're getting a new Bond. That's going to be a thing. And make that a big deal. Make that a big deal after this movie is done. I mean, this is just the culture we live in. It's just like boom, boom, boom. What's next? What's next? What's next?
This should be 6 months down the road, this call.
Yeah. Now, that said, Hardy, will he do a good job as Bond? Yes. Is it my choice? No.
No. I mean, I think he looks the part. He can look the part. You think about him in Inception. He looked somewhat debonair, whatever in there. Right. I think he can pull it off, and he's an action guy. He can pull off that stuff. I'm a little worried he's a little too old. I mean, don't you want to get the guy that's going to give you 3 to 5 movies at the very least? So why not go a little younger in your casting? And I think you've had more success casting someone who's not as well known. So, Craig, not a lot of people knew Craig, especially stateside, before he became Bond. He wasn't in a lot of stuff. So, but Hardy already has, he's Bane, he's Venom. Like, we already know all these big roles he's in. So I don't know if that's a smart move either, to go with somebody with so much pedigree.
You sounded very, very traveled, very international. Stateside, they didn't know him.
Yeah.
They weren't familiar with Tom's work, but I'm with you.
Mr. Bond, I want you to die.
Oh goodness! Listen, hey, I'm still on record. Richard Madden or Liam Hemsworth are my choices right now. I'd vote for them. But again, Give me 2020. Don't tell me about this until 2021. Make that
let this movie have its moment. Let it do what it's going to do. Say goodbye to Craig. And maybe that's because the movie was supposed to come out in April. So maybe they have had these talks, and they're kind of just already moving on. And COVID is screwing that up, and that's why it's out there. But either way, it's a bad look. So I almost feel like they should backtrack and be like, well, we were going to give it to him, but now that leaked out, maybe we should give it to somebody else,
The only one I have is Marvel related. We can save that to Marvel if you wish.
Sure.
Okay. Anything you got?
No, same thing. I had a couple other things that were Marvel or DC related. No other straight up castings. You covered them all.
Taking a break, and we'll be right back after this quick breather. All right, Saturday is Superhero Secret Cinema Day, and this one we tried to make tricky, and for one person we did make difficult, and actually we didn't get a lot of response as we have in the past, so maybe we did make it too hard, but Batman, Spider-Man, Winter Soldier, and Zeitgeist, we even threw in there, were all in The Devil All the Time, which is a film that just released this weekend. The ultimate synergy.
Yeah, I don't know if it was.
We could do.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the inclusion of Zeitgeist that threw people off, or just people hadn't watched the movie yet, so they weren't thinking that way. But that was an obvious pick on our end, at least. But yeah, not enough people. Sure. I saw Katz when he responded. I just thought of him as like Rocky Balboa. Like, do I throw the towel? Do I throw the towel? I give up. I give.
Throw the damn towel. I like it. Actually, and this is where Bart commented the correct answer, and when he commented this is where I didn't like Devil All the Time.
Gave his review, yeah. Nobody needs to listen to a 2-hour podcast. That was his review. He's good. Yeah.
Exactly.
Kind of a letdown.
Disappointing. And Katz did admit that he did have to Google on this one, which I'm proud of him, because in previous weeks he would not admit that he wound up having to Google. But I'm proud of him for admitting that. Next week, Katz, we're starting a new streak. A new commenter, though, Alec Kozla. Sorry, Alec, if I goofed that up, Alec, I apologize. But brand new commenter, we hope to see you again next week. And you got it right, brother. Congrats.
Good job, Alex. Or Alec, thanks for reaching out.
Yeah. Okay, on to our Hollywood news.
All right, do you want to wait for the Emmys breakdown till the end of the news section and just get everything else out of the way?
Now, let's get the shit show done now.
Okay. You were very excited yesterday with your shit show, I'm sure. And it's funny because my wife had started watching Schitt's Creek.
Yeah.
And she only got through maybe season 3. She didn't catch up through the whole thing before the Emmys started. But she kept looking over to me and she was like, you wish you watched it now, don't you? You wish you watched the show now. Now it's winning. It's winning everything. Did you see that? They won another one. Like, you know what? She was bragging on me.
I like it. Well done. Thank you, Tony's wife, for taking that, because I would have been saying the same if we were lying next to each other in bed.
She was in rare form last night. She was giving me some digs left and right.
Anniversary weekend, baby. She's throwing on 17 years. Yeah. You're pot committed at this point.
Yeah, you ain't lying.
Well, I should say she's pot committed. You out of your league. She's pot committed at this point. Shits. Yeah, Shits is. I say it again just in case you didn't hear it. She's not listening. She's not.
No.
Just listening. I was very excited for shit. I saw a lot of folks online that were just like, oh, maybe I should watch this now. And other people were like, I started and couldn't get through it. So I saw one gentleman who said 10 minutes into episode 1, I turned it off, could not handle it. Yeah. I gotta be honest, there's some shit that I've watched and not liked, but I'm like, let me at least finish the episode, let alone season 1.
I have my hot take on this, where I think it's people that have their own deep-seated problems with gay people, and maybe they just, some people stay away from comedy, especially and things like that, where people are very effeminate and very out there gay, and they just don't want to admit it to themselves. And I think those are the people who are haters on this show. I'm sorry if that offends you, you're an idiot. But that's my take on it. Is the people that are like against this show are like that in their own lives. So whatever, to each their own. But it won the first 7 awards, all the comedy awards, clean sweep. I felt bad for Eugene Levy, because I'm like, that's awesome. You got your first Emmy finally. And then your son gets up there and gets like 4 in one night. Like, that's crazy to me. Yeah. But 9 it's good wins. To see those old, those old people we love, Eugene Levy, Catherine O'Hara. We've seen them and stuff for 30, 40 years. It's awesome to finally see them get their first ones.
9 wins overall. It now breaks the record that was held by Marvelous Miss Maisel the previous 2 years for most of a comedy. Was there the show is done, we're going to finally reward it for its time that it was done? Probably. Sure. Maybe. I wasn't expecting Annie Murphy to win, and she got it. I was very happy for her.
That was awesome. I wasn't either. Yeah. Well, here's my other thing, too. I said I didn't hear one of them say thank you to Netflix. You better be thanking Netflix because
Yeah.
nobody watched your show until season 5 when it hit Netflix.
Guilty. I didn't jump on either until late. And my sister, my sister doesn't listen to our show either. But all the women of our lives do not listen to our show. Whatever.
No, we are misogynists.
After you just had a sentence about how you're pro gay and now you're a misogynist. Okay. Anyway, but I my wife and I did that and we caught up and we were mad that we didn't start on it from the beginning. We caught up before season 6 started, so then we were good to go from there. But my brother's wedding is in 2 weeks, and I texted the family. I said, I'm wearing Dan Levy's suit to the wedding. I'm supposed to wear gray.
Nice.
He had the kilt on with the
and the matching face. I was jealous of the matching face mask. Like, how do you do that? Do you get the tailor like when they take out some fabric, like just make a mask? It's pretty sweet.
Now let me ask you this, okay? Because you saw it. They had a party in like a banquet hall.
I think it was in Toronto, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, because they're all Canadian.
That was smart.
It was a Canadian.
That was smart. Yeah.
Do you think someone whispered, "Hey, Dan Levy, you're gonna have a big night"? Yeah. Maybe because everybody else was on Zoom.
Yeah,
except
pretty much.
They had like a legit camera crew.
Yeah, there was a couple other small kind of get-togethers here or there, but yeah, for the most part, everybody else was doing their own thing. So that was really smart on their part. And that's what I was wondering, like, how are some of these people really surprised? Because you have the Emmy people there. Like, are they showing up at everyone's house with empty boxes? Like, is that how they're doing it? I don't know.
The guy's outside, but I don't know. How awkward is that if they're like, well, the guy's outside. He's got to be bringing in. And then he doesn't come in. He just turns and walks away.
He just leaves an empty box. Yeah, I don't know. So that was weird in and of itself, the way they did it. But I think it helped make the at least the upfront part of the show better because Schitt's Creek had their own little mini party. So that was kind of fun. And good on them for getting the recognition. And if it was for like an overall show, I mean, I know some of the shows that signed off this year maybe got snubbed, a little bit, like Modern Family, Good Place. Like maybe they were hoping to get some love because their shows went off the air and they just got totally overlooked. But good on them. And I hope that Dan Levy continues on and does more after this. And isn't just like a flash of the pan, one hit wonder kind of thing to give him 4 Emmys and then he doesn't do anything else again would be a little bit of a disgrace. So, but what did you think overall of the show, the way that they did it with the Zoom calls and all that stuff?
All right. So leading off, Jennifer Aniston catching the stage on fire. Fantastic. That was great. Awesome. I loved it. I love that they didn't notice that they kept catching on fire even worse and worse. Yeah. And then she was like, oh, and credit to Aniston for not like dropping an F-bomb right there on live TV. Yeah. Because I know I would have been like, oh, shit.
You know what I said? I dropped the Meet the Parents. I was like, you put so much damn lacquer on it.
That was good. Like their bits, I really felt they were just like, we're just gonna go for it with some of these bits. The virtual, honestly, in the beginning when they had the audience, my wife was like, wait, I thought you said nobody was gonna be there. And I said, they're not. Wait, hang on. No, wait, the backs of those chairs were black and the backs of the last chairs were red. Yeah, they're doing a total bit here. They're doing a total virtual audience bit where they're pretending that the audience is actually there. I don't know. I credit them for giving it a whirl,
Yeah, it worked. Couple funny little jokes here or there from Kimmel, nothing amazing. My favorite one was Watchmen. Isn't that the show about Jerry Falwell or whatever? I thought that was really, really funny. That was a good one.
Yeah, he said that HBO could show a big blue penis, but I can't say the word shit without adding a C on live TV.
And they had to put the logo up every time he said it, Schitt's Creek. I thought that was kind of funny. Yeah, it was good overall. I think it worked for what it was worth.
Bateman getting in there with the cardboard cutouts.
Yeah, they had the few people that showed up there, on set, and I think that helped break it up where it wasn't just everybody over camera the whole time. Mm-hmm. So that was good. I loved the In Memoriam. I thought it was really, really tastefully done. I loved the performance by her doing Nothing Compares to You. It was like a female Prince. It was amazing. Sure. She was great. Sure. Yeah, she was really great. And it just made me sad, like how many people we had lost this year. Some real juggernauts of the industry. You forget how many people died in the past year. That was insane to me.
100. Again, my sister is arguably the biggest Schitt's Creek fan there is, and so we were texting throughout the night, and then she texted. She was like, "Wait, Lipton died? Wait, this guy died? Wait, this guy." I was like, "Yeah, man, 2020 has been a long year. Like, really so you forget really like some of the greats that we lost this year, sure."
But overall, besides Schitt's Creek, it was cool. We got to see Watchmen win a few things. They kind of spread the love around, I feel like, after that. You got Succession won a few. It was awesome to see Zendaya win, the youngest to ever win now for female lead, right? 24, I think.
So let's talk about that. I feel like you know how I know you're racist? You're the one that hated on Zendaya winning. I felt like a lot of the tweets and the comments afterwards for her winning were like, I can see
and
your
I guarantee
anger
you
here.
most of those people never watched the show either.
And I did, and I reviewed it on the show. The show was Euphoria was okay, but she was fantastic. She was absolutely fantastic, especially because that was her, as we mentioned, Tom Holland doing an adult role for the first time earlier. That was her, hey, I can act, and I can do adult roles since she grew up in Disney Channel.
Yeah.
And that was a point where people actually finally recognized that. And it's freaking good for her, man. And her acceptance speech is so real and so raw. I loved it. I loved everything about Zendaya winning.
Yeah. Yeah. Same with Julie Garner winning again, back to back for Ozark. Love that. Even the morning show got a little bit of love. So Apple TV got their award, for the night. That was good. Mrs. America won some stuff. So it was a lot of like spread the love after Schitt's Creek got off there. And just to stick with Apple for a minute, though, it was cool to see some of these new players winning some awards. Quibi won Emmys. I mean, that's ridiculous to me that Quibi won Emmys. Disney Plus, did the what is it? The Creative Arts Emmys. So they won in the Creative Arts, I think 6 different awards. Ludwig Göransson now has Ego, baby.
Yeah.
He's just
He's
T away.
Yeah, get the T. Okay.
Just got to get the T. So good for him. He won for Mandalorian for the score. I love him. Ron and Jasmine Cephas Jones both won. They're the first father and daughter to win like that in the same year. And then, of course, Dan Levy and Eugene Levy also did a little family love as well last night. Yeah, I laughed out loud at David Spade being Tiger King. I thought that was really funny.
yeah.
I will say my biggest, I could have done without for the night was D Nice or whatever, the DJ. Way too much relying on the DJ, like going to him every break or whatever. It felt like I was watching Ellen. I don't know. That really, I think we talked about it before. Anytime I watch these shows like this, I'd like to let it go for like a half hour or 45 minutes even, and then catch up so I can fast forward. And that's definitely one of the things I always fast forwarded through is D Nice. I don't need to hear your commentary, buddy. So.
Yeah,
but yeah, cool spin on them bringing in some real life heroes and letting them give some awards and stuff. That was fun, and they worked the charity angle, did some donation stuff near the end. So
that was cool. Every show donated money. That was very cool.
So for it being the year that it was, and the pandemies as they called it, I think it went off pretty well. So hopefully the Oscars watched and know what to do come April.
Sure. Yeah. God, I hope we're not still doing this nonsense since then. People, please wear your mask so we can get over this. I felt with the political jokes, I almost felt like Kimmel and them went out of their way to jab, and let us know their side of the ball with the politics, which I was just like, all right, I get you can throw some jabs, but again, in Kimmel's defense there, he had to go out of his way to set up and then deliver the punchlines. So what have you. I also felt, do you want to buy a Kia right now? How many Kia commercials do we have?
See, that's my advantage I just blow through all that, man. I'm telling you, that's the way to do it. You wait until 45 minutes in, then you start watching that thing. That's the best way to do it.
Nonstop. Okay, so from there, we'll segue from the Emmys actual award winners to the ratings and the virtual and stuff like that. The ratings were bad. They were very low. There was one of their lowest of all time. I think that's kind of expected. I mean, even you and I last week were just kind of like, oh, yeah, the Emmys are this weekend. Type deal.
Yeah, we kind of slept on it because we usually will do even like a little Emmys breakdown or a preview. We didn't do any of that, so
is what it is. I was wondering though. So they had everyone on the Zoom calls. So after, I'm just throwing this out there, after Laura Linney lost for her actress nomination, was she just like, all right, I'm out, and turned it off? So the ratings went down because that's one less, 5 less every time a category went off. All those people were just like, all right, we're done watching. I don't need to watch any further. But I thought they did a good job overall with that, but the ratings didn't necessarily reflect it. I forgot to look who was Sunday Night Football. New England, Seattle. So
yeah.
That was probably a mild
factor.
And
you also had the Lakers. You had the Lakers playoff games too going on. Kimmel, I think, even said something like the Lakers game's over now, whatever,
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to the new viewers that tuned in.
Buddy, they put the stage right on the ice. They didn't barely even covered up the ice because they were in LA. When he walked away and they did that one, they finally revealed that he was doing the virtual bit and they showed the background. I was like, the ice is still they didn't even cover up the effort, which is weird because the Kings didn't even make the play. They're not in.
Why are you maintaining it? Yeah.
Yeah, just cover it up. Anyway, okay. All right, moving along from the Emmys. Tell me something you got.
Well, we had another rumor, which I mean, you took a little heat for sharing something from a rumory site on our Twitter, I think. So we got to make sure we always, if we talk about anything, make sure it's rumor. But possible Dumbledore show is in development for HBO with Jude Law, his character, in the Fantastic Beasts series. He was barely in the second movie, but they're talking about maybe spinning that off into like a younger Dumbledore show. What do you think about that?
People are into it, and of those two, I thought he did a solid job. I didn't see the second film.
Yeah,
I saw Fantastic Beasts.
That the second one? It was? I think I saw the first one, not the second one. Same thing. So
same.
But they did start filming on the third one this week, I read. So I guess we're getting more of it. Keep it going. Our boy Taika Waititi is producing a new show for HBO and directing the pilot, and that's called Our Flag Means Death. And this is going to be a pirate thing. So I'm guessing it'll be kind of funny, take on the pirate genre. So see what our boy Taika can do over there with HBO.
He barely does any wrong in our books.
No, yeah. Anytime What We Do in the Shadows was nominated last night, I was like, oh, yes. And I was laughing out loud at every clip that they showed. I was like, this show is so good.
The one clip about...
It's a shame that it didn't win anything.
The clip about farting. Oh, gosh, trying to forget the line. But the one clip they showed about the one guy passing gas.
Sounds like someone summoned a breakfast burrito.
Yes, yes, I was crying. And my daughter was in the room, too. She was laughing. She's like, what is this show? Can I watch it? And I was like, I don't know. Let me double check. But
that show is great. Yes. There is maybe one episode that has some orgy stuff in it. So I would maybe steer clear. Okay. That was the only one that got me in trouble for letting my son watch it. But otherwise, it's a great show.
17 years of marriage. We've gotten in trouble a lot.
We had talked about Madonna and the rumors of her working on the new project with Diablo Cody a couple weeks ago. There were some posts on social media and whatnot. Now we found out that she is directing her own biopic. Who does that? Who does that? Is she going to star in it too?
Yes. Writing, directing, producing, and starring and de-aging her own biopic. Come on, Madonna, what are we doing here?
The only cool thing I look forward to this is, like, who's she going to cast to play the people in her life? Like Warren Beatty and things like that. Like, we're going to have to approach some of those things. And I want to see who gets cast to play those parts. And that could be fun. But I don't understand directing your own biopic. That's weird. But, hey, we're getting a Madonna movie.
I mean, listen, Elton John was a little too hands-on for us for...
This is even more, though. Yeah.
This is worse, especially if she's going to want to... hang on, I'm having a delivery. You had your child make a delivery earlier. This is my... Whoa, full of everything. Okay. All right. We got Max, and now we got Lucy. Here you go, folks. You're welcome on there one. I needed round 3 of the Macallan, so we're going to go with the ice, with the circled ice. This is typical Madonna. Like, I can see her, like, I'm going to be completely hands-on. I'm going to be completely in control of this. Now, give me this, and I'm totally stealing this from another podcast we listened to. What would you title the film?
I would actually say Material Girl. I think it's the most, I don't know, sales-friendly. Like a Virgin may get you in some trouble. I don't know. So maybe Material Girl.
Yeah, I would probably do Material Girl. I would think she would probably push for like a Virgin. I think Vogue might be too on the nosy, maybe. But yeah. Material Girl works. Okay.
Like a Prayer.
Right. Yeah. What was the League of Their Own song? Was League of Their Own song? Playground used to be my playground.
My playground. Yeah.
Is that the name of the title of the song though?
There you go. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I remember trashing this show. Stumptown. Do you remember Stumptown? Ooh, good pour. Good pour.
I do.
Live pour.
Thank you. More live pours for you YouTube.
You remember Stumptown? And I said, oh, this is going to be the show that gets canceled. And then it got renewed by ABC. And I had to eat a little bit of crow. I was wrong on the Stumptown. Nope. They canceled it again. They renewed it and then turned face and said, nope, actually we lied. We're canceling Stumptown.
So you're right.
Sorry. So sorry anybody that likes Stumptown. That is gone.
I feel like Shy is a Stumptown watcher.
He is. I think he is. Yeah.
Okay. Love you, Shy. Bye-bye.
Bad Shy. Sorry. Another, I guess I'll say rumor right here, but there's been talks about Disney delaying Black Widow and then also putting Soul onto Disney Plus. What do you think about that?
I mean, this is, you and I speculated ahead of the curve with the Black Widow earlier. Soul, I don't know, man. That was going to be their big winner, and this is,
A lot
we're
of people
coming.
said that was going to be Best Picture nominee, if
Yeah.
not possible. I had people predicting it as a Best Picture winner this year.
Yeah.
So
and not animated.
No, Best Picture.
Legit. Best
Picture.
Picture.
Yeah.
Sure. So
I mean, now because of the rule changes and stuff, that doesn't take it out of the running. It was supposed to be released, so it would still be up for it.
Hey, okay. Now I get to see it without having to. I and the kids get to see. Will they do the $30 thing? Probably.
Probably, yeah, I think so. More, and we'll get to that in a few minutes here of how successful that was. Actually, let me get to that right now if I can find it.
Yeah, because Mulan's numbers were kind of released.
9 million people apparently paid for the U.S. for the Disney Plus subscribers to pay for Mulan, which is about 29% of their U.S. subscribers. So once you do the math to that, in the first 9 days, that made $261 million. That's pretty big for them. So you look at something like the release strategy for Mulan versus the release strategy for Tenet, and I think now they're like, okay, maybe we can do this more. And you remember early on in the pandemic, Trolls World Tour did pretty well on VOD. So I think a lot of people just aren't ready to go back to the theater, and this might be the way to go, So I wouldn't doubt it if we saw Soul drop on Disney Plus and say, hey, give us 30, and I'll do it. I'm in.
Same.
All right, Greenland. This maybe could have been in our box office news, but Greenland brought in 11.5 internationally. And this is the new Gerard Butler disaster kind of movie we saw the trailer for a few weeks ago. They have now decided to move their U.S. release. They were supposed to release this weekend coming up, and they've scrapped it. So I guess they're seeing, like I said, the tenant numbers are not good. They're doing okay with it overseas. They're going to hold off on the U.S. release, maybe do it later, or maybe just do PVOD as well. So we might be seeing a shift to PVOD being kind of the way of the world, and I'm really scared that we're going to see a lot of theaters just closing up for good, and maybe theatrical experience is only going to be for big movies, and you're not going to see these small movies anymore at the theater. They're all going to be just released on demand.
Yeah, at best, big theater, because we were hoping the Tenet would hit big, and then we were like, boom, Bond, Black Widow, whatever's coming after.
Yeah, Wonder Woman. Yeah, we thought we had 3 or 4 movies coming the rest of the year, and we might not see any of them before the end of the year, to be honest.
Which is a bummer. Folks, wear your masks, please. For the love of our movie going. Throw this on Greenland. To Greenland, I'm very curious of that film. They're being attacked by asteroids.
Yeah.
What do you do?
It's Gerard Butler. I mean, his movies are like that.
Someone wrote the script and was like, who are you going to get? Gerard Butler. He'll do it.
Remember the last White House Down, whatever that was, part 3, what was it called?
Yeah.
I don't even remember what it was
White
called.
House Rebuilt.
When he's like, there's drones, and they jump in the water or whatever. It's like, come on, dude, whatever.
Yeah.
Raised by Wolves, we gave a first take on it last week. Not great in our opinion. We didn't love it, but it's getting another season at HBO, so good on that. On the old Ridley there. Kat Dennings, she brought up a good point this week. A double standard in Hollywood as far as the nude photos. After the Chris Evans thing, she was like, any woman who this has happened to, they've been trashed and almost ruined their careers. Well, everyone else was like, that Chris Evans, that was funny. That guy. I mean, but that's true, It was really a double standard as the way that it was approached by everybody. Everybody else would have been like, that slut, she took pictures of her privates and put it online,
Sure.
She's definitely onto something there. What do you think?
I mean, we mildly were guilty of that last week. We made fun of the fact that we got to see his ding dong. Sure. What are you going to do? Sure. But you're right. She is not wrong whatsoever. I only hope that our eyes are being opened to this in the past few years, how Hollywood is treating actresses and how things have happened, that maybe, the whole fappening that happened, what was it, 4 or 5 years ago, where we got to see all these women, there would not be a fappening men's website. I don't believe so.
No. Yeah, we need more equality, and this is good that she's raising the alarm on it and speaking up. Connected, this is a movie you were excited for. I think one of your most anticipated of the year has been pulled from the release calendar. It was supposed to release in October. They just pulled it. We don't know when we're getting it, or if we're just going to get PVOD, whatever. It's just pulled, so who knows? Yeah.
Oh, I missed that. Bummer. Yeah. Okay.
Chris Rock. Chris Rock did an interview this week. Yeah, you are disconnected. Chris Rock did an interview this week. He said that he is currently writing a script for him, Adam Sandler, and Dave Chappelle to all reunite. And he's saying it's more dramedy than it is straight comedy, but I'm excited. I like that. Especially if you get Adam Sandler not going, oh, do.
Yeah, you had me at hello. I was in when Chris Rock with Chappelle and Sandler. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm in.
And I mean, we've already got Spiral to look forward to that he directed and starred in.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he said he's also working on another script that he's calling his female take on Bad Lieutenant, which that could be interesting, seeing
Really?
that genre flipped on its head. So good on Chris Rock, man. I think we're going to talk about him in a few minutes on the going forward, but he's really getting into an interesting part of his career, and I'm all for it. So good job.
Cool.
Lastly, for me, we talked a little bit about film festivals last weekend. TIFF wrapped up this week. That's the Toronto International Film Festival. And Nomadland was your big winner with People's Choice.
Nice.
So this is 2 film festivals in a row that Nomadland has won the top prize, pretty much ensuring this is going to be a Best Picture nominee. I think last year's People's Choice winner was Jojo Rabbit, which went on to be Best Picture nominated. So yeah, Nomadland seems like it has a lot of steam right now going into the Oscars, whenever or whatever we end up having as far as Oscars this year.
Cool. As soon as we're allowed to see it, I'd love to watch it.
That was all the regular news I had, though.
I only have 2 more things to say. We talked about the Passion of the Christ Part 2. What the hell that's going to be about? I'm not totally sure. Maybe I shouldn't have said the word hell there because that was a little too on the nose. Peacock streaming service is now available on Roku as of today, which is yesterday for you listeners out there. That's cool because I have the Roku, so I'll be able to do the Peacock streaming service. Still can't watch HBO on my Roku, but I can watch Peacock now.
And I still don't know. I haven't jumped on the Peacock train at all. But some of the stuff is just free. Like you just download it and it's just regular, but then their premium content you have to pay for. I don't want to pay for another thing.
Last thing I have for me, buddy, I'm not sure if you saw this because it literally just happened today, a few hours ago, was that Ellen is back. So you and I were both wrong. We both predicted that she wouldn't return whatsoever, but she did. She opened up her show with a monologue. I don't know. I was very interested to read the comments to see how this was received. I would say for my part, I received it she was being genuine, but she was also kind of covering her ass in... Basically, her statement was, listen, I'm not perfect. I am the be kind lady, but when you're the be kind lady, anything you do that's not kind will be like, well, you're being fake. And she admitted, I get frustrated. I get mad. I am human. And I do these things that are wrong. I have spoken with my staff about the toxic things, and we are making changes going forward. From what we've heard, she is the change that needed to be made. So what changes are being made here, Ellen? I did enjoy her sentence of...
She didn't come out with like the totally apologetic kind of thing that we thought, maybe.
No, and what was off-putting was she infiltrated a couple of jokes throughout to kind of make it funny and kind of keep it light. And I was just thinking, oh, Ellen, this is your one spot to not keep it light. Like, come out here and be like, you know what? I effed up. And yes, I am flawed. I am the be kind lady because you should be kind, but I'm not perfect. And she said, listen, I've been an actress and I'm a good actress, but I'm not that good to fool you people for 17 years. Like the person you see here, that's me. That's 100% me, but I do have some flaws and I am putting on a show. So I liked what she said to a degree, but then there were some parts in there where I felt people could pick it apart, and people definitely are picking it apart whose minds are made up. Like, we are I feel America is big on the forgiveness and the apology, like comeback society.
Yeah, second chances, yeah.
Yeah, I do feel so. We'll see where she comes. I will say the most off-putting part of all of it that I watched, she took out all the seats in her entire studio. There's no seats for people to sit in. And put up maybe 30 big screen rectangles and people watched virtually, and it was like them, but they were on these big, like 5-foot tall rectangles of people now watching her show virtually.
Okay. So it similar to like NBA kind of stuff, or?
Yeah, they just looked very expensive to me. I was just like, I don't know if I would come out like bragging that I have all this money that I can put these big, TV screens inside my studio. That was just me. I'm sure nobody else even cared about that. So folks, I'm curious your take once you finally watch that, see what she has to say and going forward. But she's back on the air. She's going to be there.
Okay. I thought for sure that would change, so I'm surprised. Before we move on, though, I did have a couple things I forgot I wanted to mention, which was couple late breaking rest in peace things. And I don't even know if you know about these. I saw them right before we started to record. Michael Lonsdale, who you may know as Hugo Drax from the James Bond franchise. He was the villain in Moonraker. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he just passed away. He's predominantly a French actor. I know he was in a couple other, maybe like Ronin, a couple other movies here in the U.S., but most known for playing the Bond villain in a Moonraker. So he just passed away at 89. As well as somebody people don't really know the name probably is Ron Cobb has just died, and he is a production designer in Hollywood. Let me tell you some of the stuff he was involved in. He worked on Star Wars, creating some of the Cantina creatures. He worked on the interiors of the Nostromo ship for Alien.
Okay.
He worked on the DeLorean for Back to the Future.
Whoa.
He worked on the mothership of Close Encounters of the Third Kind. He worked on some of the helmets and tanks and things for the Abyss. He worked in True Lies. He worked on The Last Starfighter. I mean, this guy's just done it all in Hollywood and was a huge name as far as that aspect of production design came. So I just wanted to mention his name. He actually died from the Lewy body dementia, the same disease that Robin Williams had. So,
oh no.
Yeah, so that's sad to see him go. He had a huge, footprint on Hollywood, but kind of in the background, and people didn't know him really. But just wanted to let his name be known, and people should remember that when you're watching movies. Think about the people behind the scenes that are making these things that you really enjoy, take place. So
God bless. We should have had him on for our best vehicles episode on Patreon, or even best weapons.
There you go.
Patreon.com. Subscribe today, as low as $1 a month.
Only here can I get a RIP turned into a promo. All right, yes. Let's move on to the DC discussion.
Batman has resumed filming. Pattinson's cleared of the COVID. So Bruce Wayne has beat COVID. There's your headline, which is a horrible headline. I didn't see that as the headline, which it should have been. But either way, he's good to go, and they have resumed filming as of now.
Now, let me ask, you watch, this is a little bit of a segue and also kind of news, but there's a little rumor floating out there that CW is kind of pushing for their own Batman show.
Oy.
And you watched the Batwoman, and apparently they kind of had their version of Batman introduced in Batwoman.
Yeah.
At the end of the season. So apparently that's what they're trying to do, is maybe spin off that version of the character into his own show. What do you think? Is that something you want to see, or?
Want to see? No, I feel we're oversaturated with Batman. And I swear to you folks, I don't mean that as a Superman guy. I just feel that we're oversaturated with it. Yeah. But yes, they did introduce the guy. They just showed him real fast. Like, hey, this is what Bruce Wayne would look like in our version. I'd love to see him cameo in Batwoman, but giving him his own show, like, pump the brakes. Let's give it a little bit of time here, especially with the CW folks. I don't know.
Yeah. Very much rumory. And I mean, we just had, Gotham. We're getting that other spinoff on HBO Max. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Speak to that HBO Max spinoff, because now they want a series with Affleck, right?
Oh, see, I didn't even hear that. I was talking about the one from the Pattinson.
Oh, right.
How they were supposed to have that.
You're right.
Yeah. I didn't know that they were doing the Affleck thing. What's that?
Rumor. They want Affleck not only for his version of Batman, but they want to make it a TV series. So break it up into 6 to 8 episodes of Affleck doing the TV series as that version of the older Batman.
I mean, whatever. I'd like to see him get his own movie, and you could have done that. You should have done it with Pattinson and made it like a Batman Beyond and introduced Pat. I think that would have been cool, but whatever.
True.
What do you think about the rumors of your boy Cavill this week?
So, it's funny. This is me trying to be diplomatic here. That broke on Batman Day, the news that he signed a 3-year deal. And I went to share it, and I thought, no, I'm not going to share it today because it's Batman Day. There's no reason to chat.
And it's still very rumory, too. It's still not really confirmed.
Yeah.
I did see something like Cavill's agent shared something on Instagram of Superman, whatever. So there's some clues, but it's still not out there,
I came close because, as you mentioned earlier, I took some heat for sharing a rumor, and I thought I alluded that it was a rumor enough in our tweet, but you have to put that apparently. I joked with the Mike, and Oscar guys about how when you tweet something, you have to say, folks, this is a rumor. Anyway, and multiple sites are reporting he signed a 3-year deal, and I had multiple people hit me up like, hey man, Cavill's back, 3 movie deal. Excuse me, 3 movie.
It's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting too that it broke the same day. I feel like as the Tom Hardy Bond thing, which a lot of people thought Cavill was up for that. So Did that decision kind of
Yeah.
happen all within the same time frame?
Yeah.
You know, oh, we're not going to go with him. We're going to go with Hardy, and then he was like, okay, I'm going to be Superman.
Right.
So
Valid.
yeah.
That could be valid. Could be valid.
All right. Did you see we're getting a new title for the Snyder Cut?
Oh, what is it now?
Justice League, the Director's Cut.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Okay. I guess that's exciting. Whatever. You talked earlier about the DC Universe and how you think that app is just terrible.
Yeah.
They are apparently rebranding it. They're going to now call it DC Universe Infinite. It's going to continue to be $8 a month or $75 for the year. And it's just going to focus on the comics. All the shows have now officially moved over to HBO Max release, as well as they said they're going to give Harley Quinn a season 3. And they said if you do want to keep DC Universe app but still, kind of add on the shows, it's a $5 a month upgrade through your DC Universe app to get access to HBO Max.
Hi, DC Universe. This is Brian. I've been a subscriber since day one. I am now canceling my DC Universe subscriber because I get all of my comics either physically. There are 2 publications I get physically still, and the rest are Comixology. I'm good to go. I don't.
Sure.
You don't have any of your movies, any of your shows like you originally either had or promised you would have. They're either all being swayed to HBO Max, as you were saying. I'm out. There's no reason for me to keep you anymore. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't get it. I guess for digital comics people only. I think that's the only reason. And I don't even know if it's worth it for that. $8 a month, $75 a year. Is it worth it? I don't know.
Comixology.
Reach out to us if you're going to keep it,
Yeah, honestly, sway me in the other way. If anybody out there is going to keep this and is excited about that, tell me why I should be, but no thanks.
That was all I saw, though, from the DC world. How about you?
The only thing I saw was that with The Boys, they made a joke of the film that's being dropped called The Dawn of the Seven.
Mm-hmm.
And it was directed by somebody named Joss. So people were mad, like, oh, were you making fun of Whedon for his, Justice League and all that? They came out and actually gave a stupid statement I saw reflecting that. They're like, no, we just know that Joss Whedon is well known in the comic area, so we just went with Joss because people would recognize that name as a comic maker. It's like, what? You just made it worse. You should have just been like, yeah, we were making a joke. Goodbye.
Yeah, you should have owned it. You should have owned it and been like, yep, we were totally making fun of that. Because I think I had referenced it when we gave our first take in the season. I was like, oh, they're totally going for like a Justice League vibe on that movie. I mean, it's obvious.
Yeah. All right, done with DC, on to Marvel.
Marvel minute. We talked about Peter Shinkoda a few weeks back. He's still talking up about this pay discrepancy with people of color, him being an Asian actor. And I had it here. Let me see if I can pull up the specifics of it. But this week he got into his personal pay and how that laid it out for everybody, how bad it was. And he's blaming Jeff Loeb for everything, saying that Jeff Loeb said nobody cares about Chinese and Asian people. He actually said that to him, is what he was told.
Oh, okay.
Which is kind of crazy. It says that he was offered by Daredevil, to pay $3,500 an ep. He said, once I did the math, I take $1,600 home after commission and taxes. Some of these eps I worked for 8 days on, so I was only paid $200 a day, less than extras. He said, I paid $5,500 also up front for my fast-tracked work permit. I paid for my own room and board. I paid for my travel there. I was crippled some days walking to the subway Sunday mornings, wrapped up in bandages, trying to find an open subway while Escalades drove by me with Elektra, Matt, Punisher, and Stick all on board. I had just got done fighting them all on the rooftop. He said he pushed his agent. His agent said that they were doing as much as they could, and he was told that he was being overpaid at that rate even. He said he called it out and said, no way, I made 10 times this on the show Falling Skies per episode. That aired on Sunday nights in summertime, blah, blah, blah. And he even got decent residuals from that. So he's really calling out Marvel Television in particular for his deal that he had during his run on Daredevil. So we'll see. It's similar to the Ray Fisher DC thing. It's not going to go away, and maybe some things are going to have to change in diversity and the way people are paid and treated. So
the only thing I speak to is that extras and background actors are paid the union stipend is $78 a day. So therefore, if he made $200, he may actually make more. But that's the only knowledge I have towards that. I can't speak to him trying to catch a subway. I mean, it's what's weird to me, and this is just you and I talking. And yes, we are late 30s white guys, so how can we speak to this? But our mindset might be different. it's weird to me to think that a studio would sit down or people making the pay grade would be like, well, he's a white actor, so let's make sure we hook him up versus he's not, or just whatever. He just did this role, whatever. You know what I mean? But
Sure. Yeah.
I can't say that
You hate to
mindset's
think that
not
that's the
there.
truth. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. This is interesting. Another rumor I saw this week that I did think was worth talking about is from the casting realm a little bit, and that's Geraldine Viswanathan. A lot of rumors online of her being the new Ms. Marvel for Disney Plus. Hasn't been officially announced yet. What do you think about her in that role? She's currently in the Broken Hearts gallery right now.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. I'll be honest, I'm not totally familiar. I know she looks like, so cool. I'm not familiar with her as an actress though, but
I think she was in was she in Blockers as well, that movie?
Interesting. Okay.
So I liked her in there. She was funny, and I know that they try to kind of play up the comedy role a little bit with Ms. Marvel. So she's a young up and coming actress. I think it's a good call for them. She was just in Bad Education also with Hugh Jackman. She was good in there.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sure. Nice.
Yeah. So I think she's a good young up and comer, and I think that's good casting. Good for them. Let's get it going. More Marvel Disney Plus shows. Speaking of the other casting, you want to give that one for the week? The other Disney Plus casting?
She-Hulk.
Yeah.
That one. This was a big one. And I know a lot of people are up for this one, but Tatiana Maslany finally books the She-Hulk role, and this is going to be huge for her. This is going to be a big to do. I'm not familiar with any of her work. I had to actually look up some photographs to see if I like her in the role picture-wise, and I do.
Yeah.
Looks solid. I'm intrigued to see where they go with it.
Yeah, we saw her just recently in Perry Mason, and she's good on that show. We watched her in the Jake Gyllenhaal, was it Stronger? Is that what it's called? The Boston bombing movie. She's okay in there, whatever. She does look the part,
Yeah.
I know people loved her in Orphan Black. I still have not got around to watching that show. So I hope she's good. I hope this show is good, and I don't know. Some of these, Disney Plus shows, I'm a little worried about. Like, do we need them or not? And how are they going to translate from introducing these characters on the small screen to the big screen? I hope it works out. I hope that their plan, works out. I mean, these guys did 20 plus movies and all that and connected it all. So I know they can do it. I just hope that it works out. Some of these characters seem a little niche, a little small. And I don't know if you've been paying attention, but that new Avengers game just came out recently, and they put Miss Marvel like right at the front of that. So I mean, they are trying to build these characters up and make them more important, and they kind of have to after really introducing everybody throughout that first 20 of the movie arc. They really need to go to a new well. So hopefully it works out for them. There's
a small part of me that forgets we're getting more Marvel movies, like the way Endgame finished and the way they're pushing Disney Plus. Like I keep having to remind myself, well, sure, we're getting Black Widow. Well, but that's prequel-y. Okay, but then we will get Spider-Man 3, and we will get, all down the road.
The Turtles, Shang-Chi, yeah. And I think part of it is, though, because it's all new characters for the most part. You're not really getting your old tried and trues, Maybe Black Panther 2, but that one's up in the air, too, so.
Yeah, sure. It's incredible. We're not even talking about that. All the rumors that are going with that with Shuri is a definite thing and all that jazz.
Sure.
It's not even worth really commenting on just yet because it's not confirmed.
Yeah. That was all I had, though. As far as Marvel
towards
stuff.
She-Hulk, they do begin filming in February. February will begin filming for She-Hulk. That's a definite. We talked about WandaVision already earlier today. That will be dropping sometime in 2020. I mean, we're in the middle of September now, late September at the moment, so we only got 3 months left to go. So give it to us any day now. They're going like the Netflix model. Like we're just going to give you the trailer and a week later.
2 weeks later, yeah.
Yeah. The last thing I saw, which could be cool. Okay, this might sell me on Doctor Strange. What is it? Multiverse of Madness?
Multiverse of Madness, yeah.
Is that they might be going the cameo route where we're going to go into all these alternate universes.
So it's Flashpoint. It's Flashpoint for Marvel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Which doesn't adhere well to the Ray Fisher, dropping the Kevin Feige stole all of DC's plans. Sure. That's another topic for another day. But whereas where like they were saying, well, you might get like Tom Cruise in this universe as Iron Man, or you might get like this person as Captain.
See, now that would be fun. Whereas DC is doing it as like, oh, these people used to play these roles. Marvel might do it as like, here's what could have been, you know, and that might be a whole different level of fun.
Yeah, I'm in on that. I think that'd be exciting. And what's weird, because up to this point, we've been talking about this Doctor Strange movie being as more of a horror type film, which could be fun as well. So now you're talking about like it's going to be a horror type film, but then we're also going to have some fun things where we have, Tom Hanks playing Captain America or something crazy off the wall like that.
I swear to God, I saw an article this week talking about the thing I said on here weeks ago. Let's get Nick Cage for Superman for that Flashpoint.
Yes.
I saw some people confirming like that DC might be doing that, which God bless them if they get it. I would love it.
And if you out there ever see that Tom Welling's going to be in Flashpoint, do not share that on Twitter.
No, don't.
Whoops. That's it for Marvel. That's it for our show. It's time to go forward.
All right, going forward, actually today is the 21st, so I did have a couple things written down that are coming out today. By the time you hear this, they will have already premiered. Oh well, but like I said, just kicking off fall TV. I think once the Emmys hit and summer's kind of over, all that, so this is fall TV. LA's Finest is premiering on Fox tonight. This already did show on Spectrum or whatever it was, but Fox picked it up and they're going to show it as a first-run show. So if you want to watch that, that's with Gabrielle Union and I forget who else was in there. There's another girl in there. It's kind of like a spin-off of the Bad Boys universe.
Dwayne Wade's
so that could be a fun show. Huh?
I said Dwayne Wade's wife.
Yeah, and I think it's Jessica Alba maybe is the other character. So
why was her commercial during the Emmys her like in a shower cap and a robe?
I don't know.
My daughter's mother, she was like, why did she just get out of the shower?
Why did Dwayne Wade look like a Q-tip? I don't know.
And he had blonde hair, too. That was interesting. Anyway.
Manhunt also coming. This show had already had a season on Nat Geo before. I think it was, or Discovery, one of those channels, and it focused on the Unabomber. So I think that's available on Netflix now. So this is a second season. And it's going to be anthology style, so each season focuses on a new character. This is going to be about the Richard Jewell Atlanta bombings, that whole storyline. So it's called Manhunt Deadly Games. And this one is on Spectrum now. It was on, like I said, Discovery before. So that's tonight as well as we're recording.
I saw the trailer for that, and I was like, and then the guy was like, I'm Richard Jewell. And I was like, wait, we're getting another Richard Jewell thing? Hang on here. Yeah.
Yep. We're also getting a new Netflix release on the 21st called Love Song for Latasha, which is a documentary focusing on the little girl who was killed that kind of really did spark the LA riots before Rodney King. So so that documentary is hitting on Netflix. That's this week. Sticking with Netflix, we're getting Ebola Holmes, your favorite.
Yeah. Also known as Ebola Holmes.
Yeah. Enola Holmes comes out this week, the 23rd on Netflix. So I have a feeling we will have a review for that next week. So stay tuned for that. Masked Singer makes its return this week. If you guys watch that, like I do,
God.
Hey, it's a decent show. It's decent.
Okay.
It actually won an Emmy. It won an Emmy for its costumes. So whatever.
For costuming, I believe that 100%. Costumes are
also on the 23rd, Console Wars, which I want to say we talked about before because of the book. This is coming to CBS All Access on the 23rd. I thought maybe we had said it was going somewhere else, Quibi or somewhere like that, but. Either way, Console Wars documentary is going to be on CBS All Access on the 23rd. We're getting a new season of Chef Show on the 24th on Netflix. We're getting Star Trek Discovery Season 1 hitting regular CBS. So if you've ever been on the fence about getting CBS All Access, you can now watch Star Trek Discovery Season 1 for free on your regular CBS. The 25th, you're getting Sneakerheads on Netflix. I saw the trailer for that. That looked okay. As well as Utopia on Prime, which we talked about that trailer a few weeks ago. I may have to give that a chance. We'll see if we can do a first take maybe on that next week. Utopia on Prime. This weekend's new releases in the theater actually are Ava and Kajillionaire. And I believe Kajillionaire is doing the PVOD route like maybe a few days or weeks later as well. So that one's coming. And Ava, we had talked about the trailer a few weeks ago as well with Jessica Chastain. We're getting the mini series on Showtime called The Comey Rule, which I saw a trailer for that. I don't know if you did. With Brendan Gleeson playing Trump. Woo.
Really?
That could be interesting. So that hits this weekend as well. Comey Rule. It's going to be a little mini series, I guess, on Showtime. We're getting The Weakest Link back on NBC with Jane Lynch hosting.
Really?
Yeah. We're getting a documentary on HBO Max called Murders at White House Farm. So I may have to check that one out. I do love some murder and documentaries. And we're getting Fargo season 4 on FX. Finally, been waiting for that to hit for so long. They have like 2 years in between their seasons, and this is the one with Chris Rock. I think Jesse Buckley, Jason Schwartzman. There's a lot of people in this, so it looks really good. The trailers look really good, and I'm all for this new chapter of Chris Rock's career. So I can't wait to check out Fargo Season 4 on FX this weekend.
There's going to be a generation of kids that don't know that Chris Rock used to be a stand-up comedian that did a whole bit on how to get pulled over by police if you're black. Like, it's this whole, and I love it. It's great. I'm all for it. This horror aspect of him and this drama aspect of Chris Rock. Like, we didn't know what was there back then. So cool. Good for him.
Yeah. And I've heard nothing but good about this new season of Fargo, so I can't wait to finally see it.
Going forward for Take Two Podcast this Friday, Patreon subscribers and Patreon subscribers only. That's it. The rest of you folks, sorry to be you. You don't get it. Or patreon.com, Take Two Podcast, as low as $1 a month. You get to hear our best weapons in movies. The best weapons used in movies of all time. Our list. I will tell you folks, normally on these lists, we get a lot of crossover. On this one, not as much crossover, which means what's good for you, you get to hear a lot of different takes on different types of weapons that we put in our top fives. And we hope to hear from you guys also. The only way you get to hear it is if you're a Patreon describer. Nope, subscriber.
You can describe it too. That's fine.
Why not? That's going to drop this Friday. So you have until Friday to drop that, to subscribe there, patreon.com, Take Two Podcasts. And then you get all the previous episodes that we've dropped. Tons of them. There are
$1, you're getting like 25 episodes. It's amazing.
Yeah,
it's totally worth it.
24 of them are from Tony and I. One is from Roy. So that's my way.
I know he's coming with a new one as well. He told me he's working on it. So
yes. Speaking of Roy, this Sunday you're getting the September edition of The Realm of Take Two. That is our spin-off Swords and Sandals version. All of your sorcery. The Merlin of the microphone, Roy, will be on there with your monthly Realm of Take Two episode out this Sunday. Don't forget the socials, guys. Jump on there because there was a point where Tony and I were like, all right, Monday we'll post this, Tuesday we'll post that, Wednesday we'll post that. Now we're just like so hot and heavy, so much interaction. It's just like boom,
rhythm.
boom, boom.
It's just a rhythm. Yeah.
The only way you can get into it is join in and just comment along on the Instagram and on the Facebook.
Go for the ride, baby.
And share it, of course, on all your socials. Get your friends to jump in there as well. Take Two Podcasts. And then the Universe page is the fan page. That's a more interactive page on Facebook, if you will. We learned this.
Yeah, right now you can jump in and decide what you're going to have Brian watch with his wife. You can talk about my DVD shelf that I shared for you guys. All sorts of stuff. So please jump in and talk and get the discussion going, man.
Can I have your vote, please? Now, by the time people hear this, the voting will be done. My wife and I, I put this out there before, and everybody voted for Parks and Rec. I'm very happy you guys voted Parks and Rec. We binged it. We loved Parks and Rec. Now we're on to a new one. What show should we binge that we've never seen? Lost, The Wire, Scrubs, or 30 Rock? Now,
have neither of you seen Wire?
I've seen Wire, so it's a rewatch for me.
So there's Lost. And she's seen Lost. Yeah, see, that's my problem is I kind of want something new for either of you because those would be my top picks. I would say Wire first and foremost, if not Lost. Yeah. But if not those two, then I guess I would go Scrubs because I really like the Scrubs and I have all 10 seasons on DVD, I think so.
Okay. Well,
and you're on a Ted Lasso kick, so maybe.
Buddy, can I tell you that Ted Lasso is good?
Yeah.
If I could
same creator. So hey, there you go.
Yeah, Ted Lasso was really. We caught up. We were 2 episodes back, and her and I caught up the other night. Watched back-to-back episodes. It's a really good show. If I can recommend it,
it's a really strong mustache. I know that much. Really
yes, it is. It was on the Emmys.
I saw it last night, and I was like, "That's a Ted Lasso stash right there."
Forget Sudeikis had a COVID test on the Emmys live. I thought that was funny. It was a good bit.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it for Take Two Podcast, episode 206. Have a great night, everybody.
See ya.